positive EPS. So yeah, EPS right here. Yeah, you are right, man. There it is. Next quarter looking at 5%, 4 cents right there, EPS. This year, 3.6 is up year over year. Obviously, in the last 3 to 5 years, we're downside right there. But I don't really see that's EPS diluted right now, minus $1.19. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm looking at here. I'll have to figure that out because they don't.
Not a forward PE.
They don't have. Yeah, it's because they're guiding, I guess, right? So I don't know. Right there, forward PE, not doing well there. And then here's SoFi as well. Again, you know, you have to sort of dig through these numbers. I don't even use FinViz. My Benzinga has crashed like basically every 5 minutes for me, so I'm giving up on that. There's EPS, yeah, for SoFi, nice little 38 cents right there. And again, the diluted EPS, earnings per share. Look at their PE. It's still nasty. You don't need a 43 PE if you're a fintech name. That is for sure, especially if you got that bank charter. I mean, JP Morgan, you know, I think the worry is that SoFi does have, oh my God, it's 11:01. Not only did we start, hold on a second here, Sharif. Yesterday, you know, we took over 15 minutes early for these guys.
No, they owe us.
So I mean, I got to take a look at Joe's little sheet there where he's keeping track.
That we always do that. It just makes up for everything.
I think Joe's forgetting a lot of things. There's PE right here, 14.25 right now. I'm going to check out his spreadsheet and see how many days we're owed, because remember, he's keeping track. But there's the forward PE there for JP Morgan, 14 to 12 right there. So we like JP Morgan.
That's cheap.
Obviously, much better than
cheap.
Okay, all right, there we go. I don't know if he's hitting fail on JP Morgan or what he's hitting fail on there, but JP Morgan downside. All right, man, it's 11:02.
He's hitting fail on Pineapple Energy.
And he's a little.
I'm spoiling something for you there, Sharif.
Okay, yeah, don't spoil it for Sharif, man. Sharif is.
Oh, he just asked for shorts on it. That's all.
Oh, okay. Shout out to that one. There as well. You are more than welcome. It's our flagship. They're about to take over. And then you're going to get a treat tomorrow afternoon as well when Obi sits in this desk for me from 2 to 4. Neil will be here, which is always a good thing. And we will see you. Thanks, Sia. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at 2 o'clock.
Boom. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show.
Is my screen here?
That's your, I think you're good. I don't think it's
we're all right now there.
This handsome gentleman is your boy, Joey frickin' Options, and I'm Sharif. And let's say hello to everybody. Shout out to Ronaldo.
What's up, Istanbul?
Istanbul from, is it Europe? Is it Asia? A little of this, a little of that.
A little bit of it.
Shout out to Omar. Shout out to MF Dangerous. We got Gorev, PMAC, Bristol, Armenian Muscle. Get it, Armenian Muscle. There we go, baby. We got Dino. We got Hangry Wife. Shout out to Fred, Oshiri, Roulette, Manifest. Something in the Manifest codes now. Andrew Chow, Old Wise Trader. Shout out to Brisso, Trading Nurse. Get it, Trading Nurse. We got Big Scalp. Big Scalp? You're lucky Big Kyle's not in the chat much these days. He'll fight you for that big moniker there. No, I can't. Just, of course, Random Bratley, Deep Cheeks AI. All right. Joe Cowboys, Daniel, Byron Hart. Shout out to Kirk D. We got Mr. Janky Stock and Ronald Grimmond, Dark Skin. Bob Walters, we got Mrs. Lawfi. Shout out to I'm Trading Rick, Captain Bananas. I like that one. Who else, man? We got some new names here, Joey. We got City Boy 305. That's not a new name, but CAD Wave is Georgie 22. Shout out to Captain Bananas. Ahmed, we got Algo Assassin. I like that name. HP Motors, good day back at you. Commodity King, shout out to the King. Tony Zeta and Mr. Alex Stosia. I probably butchered that last name. I do apologize, Alex, but good morning to you, brother. Good morning to you as well.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. No athlete of the year. We do not hate you.
What?
All right?
We love you,
hate is a very strong word, my friend.
Oh,
all right, guys, let's get right into things. We're going to kick it off with RIVN. We've seen the Katina Man was short this morning. I was thinking the exact same thing off of that pop. So we've started to form a little bit of a flag here, and I'm like, all right, let's see if we're going to break down through the support level, consistent lower highs. But I wasn't going to allow it to fool me. I had a game plan with this one, and it was either going to crack through that support level, and this is what I'm referring to right here, or it was going to rip up and volume kicked in. So what happened is selling the lower end of the range, something that I don't necessarily love to do, but I was prepared to flip and flip aggressively, and that's essentially what happened here. The volume kicked in, we didn't get that breakdown, and I'm like, you're not going to fool me today. All right, today is not the day you're gonna fool me and kind of absorb that liquidity. So essentially what happened was no breakdown, as I just mentioned, but then the volume started to pick up in the other direction. So I bought my shares back and then some, tripling up my position to the long side, and sure enough, we were fortunate to get a continuation here in volume, and we pieced them up all the way up into 1710s. And then it started to curl back over, and I'm like, oh, you're just doing a liquidity grab before you head lower, but I didn't flip once again as it broke through that 1670 level. It started to head towards the volume weighted average price with momentum, and I'm like, I was thinking about flipping short, but I did not. And then sure enough, the original thesis, Katina Man also going short earlier in the pre-market, was correct, but we'll take this all day. So that Rivian trade, nice for us. Still up 4.7% here. And then we took 2 attempts on the short here in Alibaba. It's just an absolute choppy mess here. Tried catching the top end of the range. It does move significantly in my favor here, considering the size that I had on, but it just wicked me out. So I'm like, you know what, you dirty dog, nicey stock. We're getting out of here, and sure enough, we're going to avoid Alibaba Group here on the day. And then I had a strong hunch that the Nasdaq was going to get a little bit of a breakup here as we were consolidating right at the volume weighted average price, and now we're starting to punch through resistance zones. What do we have to do, though? Let's keep an eye on the volume by time profile. For right now, it is not starting to uptick, and we want to see that increase as we punch through resistance. Anyways, aside from that, guys, what do we have on our radar? It's going to be Alibaba, RCAT, and Rivian. Those are my primary suspects for today's session.
All right, man. We're just about to get long here on Mob Deep. MOBX into the high of the day. It's got support, I perceive, at 61. Okay? This looks like a bull flag to me. A lot of buyers at 61 over here. I'm going to have to, so I'm going to get in here, and we're going to give it to 60. No, to 60. Pardon me. I thought it's the other way around. Sorry. So I just have to throw that in. So we want to get in that many. So did we get? Yeah, good. So we're going to go 60. Well, yeah, I'll have to give this a little bit over here, just in case we cover. No. Can you take over?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, so I'm just looking out here on some trading view and
all right,
I'm good. You're good?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Just have to get that in. All right, short, long. Let's talk about the short. Thank you, Neil. I missed it because, well, I had to set up my platform. I was looking to go short 192. That was my original plan. We didn't get it. So we got 184 short. I'm looking for 175. That's 1R for me. There's 79. Looking for a bigger move down. 78 now showing up on SUNE. Flat bottom break through 92. Looking for continuation into the low, okay? Sure. I see a lot of support at 170. That's the pre-market low at around, I want to say, not pre-market low, pre-market consolidation area support. It kind of held there, I want to say, from around 720 to maybe when we got off to Schneid, as Neil would like to say, about 820. So we're going to continue to watch SUNE. I stop out above the volume weighted average price. It really is that simple, okay? And then we're keeping an eye here on MOBX, getting in at the high, always a little bit dangerous, but I like the support at 60. Come what may, we end up stopping out, we stop out, we move on to the next trade. Kind of disappointed that I missed my entry on SUNE because these are super entry specific trades because we're talking about pennies here that we're trying to pick up. So if you've kind of missed it, you kind of miss it. Now, SER is the other one that I'm looking for long. So there's a bunch. Amex, okay. It's an Amex stock. SER, keeping an eye out on this one. It's not exactly breaking trend in the most cleanest way, but I'm alive to the fact that it has broken through a little bit over here. This is the one I'm talking about, SER, prolonged downtrend. Now, I don't want to put on my long goggles and say, yo, bro, you know, when it breaks above the downtrend line, that's the AA plus setup. Yeah, maybe in a different market, Katina Man, but we're not in the best long market at the moment. What's up, bro? Bruh. All right. So that's what we're looking for there on SER. I don't want to get too gung-ho with this one. I do see the downtrend. It is breaking. I'm going to wait for a little bit longer. If this one really has the juice to take out that 2.5, then, you know, we'll get it at a different level. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on here. SUNE, that's the short. MOBX, that's a long. And SER, we're certainly keeping an eye on that. As you can see, though, we've got a bunch of other ones going on. DLTH looking real freaking good, up 33%. Continuation from 7 a.m. Nice higher low, higher high trend over here. You can very visually see that by drawing some of these trend lines. Nice upward channel manifesting on DLTH. I'd play it as a range until it's not. 295 high. That gives me a bias that we at least glance at 3. We'll have to wait and see. ACXP, also another pretty good one here. Bull flag, found support at the volume weighted average price a couple of times, 1035, 1040, hold. It's not clearing that 6 2/3 area. In fact, it looks like that local seller is coming in at 60. I think a breach of 60, 660 that is, on ACXP probably sets us up for another high day test in the 91, possibly 7. So that's another look there. VET, VET, this one looks like a short. This is a buy program that got turned off at around 11 o'clock. How many times have we said that to you guys? Random area with which to find a top, 14, 15, coming back down into 14. I think if this loses the 10 EMA, and by extension of that, prior bar low, 1105, hammer candle, bottoming tail, with the low of which is 391, this is a short into VWAP at around 352. That's VET. What else are we looking at? ALDX. I used to go to a school in grade schools called Alexmere Junior Public School, and we had like a school song. We used to sing ALEXMUI. Every time I see this stupid stock, it reminds me of that song.
That was your
ALD. Yeah, it was. It was like a little.
I don't even think we had a school cheer like that.
No?
No.
We had a school song.
I'll give the Americans a little bit of credit. What's up, class half full? I'll give the Americans credit. No matter what high school you go to, college or anything, they all have a chant and very patriotic. We don't necessarily have that.
I do agree with that.
We don't have that here.
I do agree with that, yeah.
Everybody's just like, you know what, go out and do your own thing. Different groups. You know what I find? That Canadians are really, it's like, hey, stick with your friend group and don't bother.
Exactly.
It's not the same, right?
I agree with that.
All right, let's get into some things, man. And that's how it is. Like,
you're not plugged in,
I'm not plugged in. I'm not tapped in. All right, Sia, talk to me.
Yeah, I just have a quick news and update on Waymo here. Has just announced that their autonomous fleet has now driven a combined 170 million rider-only miles without a human driver as of last December, that is December of 2025, up from 127 million in September of 2025. And that is also 467,000 miles per day on average. Waymo has also released updated safety stats. You can see it on my screen over here. LA standing at 37.8 million, San Francisco at 53.5, and Phoenix at 68.61, followed by Austin at 10.722 million.
Good information, Sia. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. All right, Alibaba, guys, still moving sideways. It's definitely a range trade on this one. We want to wait for a direction at this point. We might get a bounce off of the volume-weighted average price here. So essentially 125.06, and then if you can break through that resistance zone, you want to catch the lower end of the range. That way your risk to reward profile is extremely tight. I'm in no rush to put anything on right now. A nice curl over here in the Nasdaq, and some individuals are saying that NVDA is starting to climb higher. Good, because I'm a buyer of this name, and I'm going to be continuously buying some more.
Assassino, bro, he's great. I love Assassino,
what do you almost catch him doing?
I was dancing, Joey.
All right, so you got some stuff going on there. Give me uno momento, amigo,
and
then we'll go right over to you.
We're good to go.
As for AMD, this thing has been significantly, well, I shouldn't say that has been, but it is significantly stronger here today. So the chip's back in play, and that way we could take a look at SOXL and see how it's been performing. Starting to form somewhat of a bull flag here, guys. If we break through that resistance zone, once again, you want to catch the lower end of the range. And when these shelves are formed, it can really give you a nice, tight risk-to-reward profile.
Don't rush. What's that song? Don't rush.
Just touch.
Yeah. I was just listening to it at the gym, bro. My memory is like a goldfish, man. My goodness. There goes Mob X into 69er. No, I lied. 68.97 HOD. Selling coming in. Be careful. Let's see if this one wants to weasel into 70 penny areas. I mean, it's right there. We've taken off half the position so far. Looking for continuation into, I want to say, 75 pennies. If we can clear 75 and do it decisively, I've got a bias that we at least glance at a buck. Mob Deep has been running here basically since the morning. I'm kidding, of course. It's not called Mob Deep. It's called Mob X, as you see on your screen. I just like to give them these little pet names. It makes everything a little bit interesting. So MOBX, as I was talking to somebody in the chat, and they astutely pointed out seller at 67, but he got murked. 68.97 is the high, but he looks like he's setting up again, convicted in his short position here on MOBX at around 67. My move stays the same. If it loses 61, where I see a clear buyer stepping in, I'm out. It really is that simple. Okay, so we're going to pack the patience here on MOBX. Let's see if this can stair step up. So far it is. Okay, it certainly had resistance, I want to say, at 65. I think that resistance has been taken out, but you know, I could be wrong. I've been wrong plenty. So we'll keep an eye out on this one, and we'll see if we can get the next beak wetter here at 70 pennies, which I don't have an order for, so I probably should do that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to throw it south of 70 because, you know, it gets to be a crowded trade. We're going to go 69.5, and we're going to post there. So if we get it, great. If we don't, then what's the next trade? As the OB, he is the one, Kenobi would like to say. Continuing to watch SUNE. I'm looking at wetting the beak at 76. There seems to be a buyer, though, on SUNE. Let me just see here, 79 and 79. So we have a double bottom here at 79. And we can't seem to shake that level, at least to the downside. So continuing to watch this one. Again, missed my entry. I was looking for 92s. I got distracted setting up. And now we have to take a little bit of a worse price. But that's my problem, not yours. Continuing to watch this one, Joey. Hoping for 70 on this. I see support there in the pre-market.
Beautiful stuff. All right, just trying to pull something
I
up.
can keep going because people are asking me questions if you'd like.
No, you don't.
Okay.
If you would like to, then by all means continue on. But I mean, hey, shout out to whatever band, and I continuously forget that sings "Ramble On."
Good call, Bovin.
Aside from that, guys, I mean, we're being patient right now for some potential entries. There is a wedge being formed on Alibaba Group. We had this Rivian trade earlier in the day, and it's heading right towards the support system at 16. What I did realize is we'll pull this up here now.
Pull up.
I'm just trying to get something over onto this bloody API. So yeah. But this is what I was looking at here, RIVN. We're going to pull this up, and you can see that we had the supply zone over here at that $17 mark. And then sure enough, oh my God. What is going on here?
I can take over, brother.
Hold on one second.
Gorev, you guys look good yesterday, man. That was a straight up whooping you guys put on Galatasaray. But Gorev, did you feel they had absolutely no ambition? I'm talking about Galatasaray to go forward. They had 10 guys behind the ball at all times. When they were losing, you're losing. You need to score. Why is everybody playing behind? I didn't get that, but you guys put hands on them yesterday, and good on you. My old man was pumped, Joey.
All right. Yeah. So here it is, right? Like, so we ran into that $17 mark in the pre-market, guys, around $17.40, and then you can see right here we have some supply, 22,600 contracts right there on Rivian, and we're starting to head south. I mean, with this $16 strike price, think about how much size is there with an increase in implied volatility. I wouldn't be surprised by come tomorrow, we close a little bit south of $16 on RIVN. Heading back over to our watch list to see what the larger participants are doing. NVDA, a slow pullback. So with the market not really breaking out like we've seen in AMD and NVDA, considering we're starting to get that pullback, you can see that it's relatively weak. We have Apple heading towards the low of a range. Once again, stop selling these support systems, and I'm more or less talking to myself here, and wait till you get to the top end of the range. Unless you see that momentum really start to uptick, then don't, because they'll just wick you out, especially if you have too many shares in too tight of a stop. Ask me how I know this. Now, MSFT,
been there.
Not doing, yeah, like too many times. I don't know why I continuously do it. So anyways, all right, Amazon starting to pull back in here, guys. Almost a double top. There's not much liquidity here in the pre-market, and now we're going to probably come back and test this volume-weighted average price. Now, how has Tesla been performing on today? Relatively weak. I mean, you come out of the gate, you chop around, you have a half an hour consolidation, you make a leg lower, but you're still holding that base at 380. But it looks like we're struggling to break and hold VWAP. Not too much, not too good for a sign of strength, but anything can happen. If you ask me in the Nasdaq and in the SPY, a lot of overlapping candles, relatively choppy here today. So I'm more than willing to be patient. Oh my God. And see what we got going on here.
So embarrassing, bro. Why, man? Adam, man. Take it easy. I can't even read that. Who do you think I am, man? Like, what's his name? McGregor? Have a great day, guys. Peace. Have a good one, Adam, man. Adam's been sending me these hilarious old, like, Toronto nightclubs. I'm talking about the Government, Tonic, like, things before your day, my guy.
Government? Come on, brother. I was at Government.
You were at Government?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Queen's Key, bro.
I'm kidding, bro. I know you were. I'm just, we're not that much of a difference. We're 10 years. You saw there? Katina Man saw him there. I mean, they were. That's where they know each other from. You boycotted that place, Neil? What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's not funny. So one of Neil's friends, you know, there was a weapon.
Spit it out. Oh,
yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
But that's what happens over there, man. You got to be.
He was a bodyguard at the club. So he was a bouncer there, and he got shot. And obviously
was he okay?
that's not
Did
funny.
he survive or?
He didn't?
Oh, okay.
He
All
didn't
right.
survive. Okay, well, that's
different,
clearly not funny then. I do apologize, of course. Guys.
I'm frozen. I got to restart here.
Mob Deep is coming back down here, guys. I want to talk about GOAI, Bovin, but I'm waiting to see what Mob Deep wants to do here at the 10 EMA. Coming into 63, we're long at 65. Let's see if this one breaches. Is coming in aggressively into that volume. Are we going to see buyers at 61? Let's see here. Are the buyers going to step up? They're stepping up now. Do we get a bigger step up here? Let's watch. In we go. Let's see if we can kind of continue. Let's move down, move the stop tight down there right into 61. So I just got to put that in. And then we're going to give it to that much for this much. There we go. So we'll lock in any possible downside. But there goes SUNE Assassino into 75. We're taking this one short. Let's see what else we can do. See ya.
Yeah, really quick news on Apple here. AAP, a watch redesign, has been approved by a trade judge in the patent case as per Bloomberg. Currently, Apple trading down 0.28%.
Okay, stopped out of Mob Deep, MOBX, stopped out. It's losing VWAP, so that 69 seller we couldn't shake ends up being a 69.97 high. So we're going to set up on that one. That ends up being a loser for me. But we're doing well here on SUNE. We're looking for more. I'm biased towards 70 pennies, but it's a 75 penny low. Let's see how low we can get. But I need to speak to you guys now about GOAI. This is above in special, GOAI on the NQ. Big move up, 41 and change. Breaches 6 into 628. Big move up here, but it's getting a bit of a sell. So now we're coming down into $6. So the current 5-minute setup is as follows. Current bar low, 587. Current bar high, 628. Prior bar low takes us down to 557 with a high being 597. This one is trending, Bovin. It's one of those anomalous situations, of course, where the price action has developed quickly, and that has put the volume weighted average price ahead of the 10 EMA on the 5. So VWAP, I don't like to use VWAP in these situations because I feel that it's not the area of support and resistance that it typically is when it is above the 10 EMA. So I'm still looking at that 550 to 540 as the real area of support. That is, of course, if it gives up the current bar low and or the prior bar low. But there it goes, right back into 6.25. So great strength here on GOAI. This one could be him. We're going to keep an eye out on this one, Joey.
Brother.
What's up? What the hell happened? Oh, I didn't even see. Sorry, I didn't even notice. Like my bad. Like so your boy Joey Opsh over there, he's having some technical difficulty, so we're going to give him a minute to set up. And I'm going to keep my eye here on GOAI, but I'm very alive to the fact that my position here on SUNE continues to bleed its own blood down to the downside, and I'm very pleased about this. So let me talk a little bit about my position on SUNE. So I got in at 84. I structured it for 85. So my 1R is 75. I've already got that. 2R is 65. 3R is 55. I don't think I'll get 3R. I may get a shot at 2R. The reason I say that is because that 70 penny level, bottom chart on your screen there, that 70 penny level was a hell of a support level in the pre. So if that's the case, well then, you know, it's going to really take something special to breach that level. But there it goes down into another low of day, into 174. A lot of weakness right now on SUNE. More pleased I could not be. You know, I don't short these small cap gappers all that much, but hey, you know, we're doing it, and we're doing it live right now, Joey. So very pleased about this.
I could take over a little bit here, guys.
You're good, bro. You don't have to rush.
We're signing in.
You don't have to rush, man. You're good. You're good. That's it. Oh, my days. Uh-oh.
Who is it?
You know. You know.
Get him out of here, man.
What? No, man.
Yeah, man.
He's not going anywhere, bro. I love him. Big smile, Burdett. Big style. He is Big Kyle Burdett. Do not feel bad, Adam. My supers are not red sometimes, too. I do it for the love of the game and the torment of LJS, the Timu Pitbull. I love this guy. Bring the red and the roundy bottoms to smack. My man, Big Smile Burdett. I love this guy's energy and his jokes. We love you, Kyle. Keep it locked in with us always. Just trying to wet the beak here on some more profits on SUNE as that one continues to bleed its own blood. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. I want to read out Jay Lee. Jay Lee, one of the OGs in this chat, and if you guys are interested in shorting the market, I'm talking about the Qs, the T triple Qs, the S triple Qs. You need to be looking at Jay Lee's levels. He's constantly, you know, very in tune with where the futures are. He's constantly trading the futures vis-a-vis these ETFs. Shout out to Jay Lee. He's got a 50-cent winner on the T triple Q short. Let's go. Shout out to my man, Jay Lee. Love when you're doing well, brother. Keep it locked with us here. Keep us updated on your positions because we're always going to shut them out, Jay. Good luck, my man. Grandmother's Garden, will you please look at NEM for me? Of course I will, man. That's what we're here for. Let's have a look at NEM. Nemo? Oh, my bad. Newmont. Oh, I did summarize this one. So if you are a premium YouTube sub, click the post section. This is like one of the last stories in the Sharif's morning note. Get it. It's very interesting story today about Newmont. It's essentially the weakness in silver and in gold, obviously a big miner, and this one is bleeding basically today.
All right,
so
back,
1 second, 106.50 Assassino. We're just going to do this TA quickly. 106.50 is where the closing print is. On NEM, this is Newmont. It does look like there's a whole bunch of resistance at around the $100 area. You can see that vis of the topping tail candle at 11.05. I think this one is probably gonna head down to VWAP. If it loses this double bottom that we have at 10.25 and 10.30, it could probably see some pre-market lows at around 96 bucks. I'd love to see what your plan is on this, grandmother son. Let me know if you wanted the intraday or you wanted the daily look. We're going to pause for a second. I got to send it to see at the big desk.
So quickly here, the war in Iran is threatening the supply of a little thought of resource called helium here. This is a little bit important because it could potentially pose a threat to the semiconductor industry, as we're aware, but there are other sectors, and helium is one of the major ones here. Little is known of helium, but it is a key input in many industries, most notably in technology and in semiconductor manufacturing. The cooling properties are used to transfer the heat. So a global helium shortage would cause ripple across the range of industries. And here I have a statement from a report early this week by the Chief Investment Office of UBS Global Wealth Management saying that Qatar makes some 30% of the world's helium, which is a key input for semiconductors, industrial manufacturing, and medical imaging, while several key ingredients for fertilizer production also move through the strait as well.
Thank you very much. See ya. Shout out to Cool Brio, CMTX, Barclays upgrade and slow return to highs. We'll have a look in a second. V-Hub says Bovin, VHUB. What do we got? Yeah, breaking out Bovin, light volume still, but the volume is coming in. I see your point there. MMXM 7MK. Sharif, what are your thoughts on SWMR? Not today. I did put it on the side chart, not the side chart, sorry, the side watch list, because, you know, it's been a monster lately. SWMR is that IPO that we had from a couple of days ago. We took this one yesterday. Look, I think this is a great swing trade. Just that's never financial advice when I say that, okay? This is for my own you know, purposes here. Why I like it even more today is, yeah, sure, it's down. It's down what? 1.15%. It's not giving up the levels. It's got a bit of a lowered high downtrend ever since those all-time highs that we put in. But I still think that this is probably going to catch a bit of a bid. That's my bias on this one. SWMR, I like it. I think it's in vogue, especially with the current state of with everything happening, Joey.
All right, man. Yeah, so let's take a look at what we got going on here. USO starting to head towards a key support level. We can see that on the 5-minute time frame. You want to zoom out and kind of eliminate some of this noise here. It's not looking too good, but are you going to try to play a breakdown in this, especially when you have this ebb and flow type price action and nothing substantial coming out here on the volume by time? So what you want to do is maybe just play the range, and same with the market. You had that failed breakout, and then essentially what we have going on is that the bigger names are starting to pull back in, like the Apples and the Amazons. So the way that I would be specifically looking at it is that, okay, we have that breakout, but the larger names aren't participating, and those are one of the sessions where it's like, hey, you can get really trapped, but if you're focused on what the other names are doing, you can be like, this is most likely going to be a false breakout. All right, SoFi looks like it wants to continue its climb, but RedCat got absolutely destroyed this morning and was down almost 20% at one point. We got to change this from USO. We don't need that everywhere on our chart, RCAT, and see what we're currently sitting down right now. I mean, at this point, double digits, 15.7%, not too good of a look. And I was looking for somewhat of a more, of a stronger rebound here, but we're not getting that. And then sure enough, it's that turtle shell type price action, rejecting the volume weighted average price.
Why?
And now it's just like, what do we do? You essentially want to go with the flow instead of trying to play the reversal on a name that's been tanking throughout the whole intraday session. Now, as for SPY, boom, there it is, the Nasdaq. If we break this 589 level, once again, you don't want to sell the lower end of the range. Wait for that pullback, and then maybe you can get that curl over, because the market is looking really weak here. And I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised that NVDA is selling, because we've gone over this on multiple occasions. It's just that the fact that when you have these massive supply zones, listen to what they're telling us, right? Even though I'm a buyer of this name, the market isn't ready. It probably wants to absorb some more liquidity, and we talk about this $200 mark time and time again. It is slowly starting to cool off. It is expiring tomorrow, so you have individuals closing their positions, but when you have 228,000 contracts at that $200 mark, and then you have 185 at that 190, and then need I go on, 129 at that 185, there's a very low probability that the underlying is going to surpass some of these supply zones. Why? Because we've already proven throughout the intraday sessions throughout the week that there isn't enough demand. And what I was going to talk about this morning is that essentially when we have these black swan events and you see this supply, it's a very rare occasion that you have a gamma squeeze in these larger names. You see them more or less in the lower capitalization names, but what essentially would happen is that you have a massive buyer or somebody along those lines who's willing to absorb all of this and then some, is when you really get that increase in gamma, because there's so many contracts at this specific level, and when you have that accelerant, it just rips the stock. But we have very rarely seen them as of late, and I don't think we're going to anytime soon, and especially in a name like NVDA. So go with the flow. When you see those supply zones, I'm not saying go short, but just be prepared for the underlying asset to not surpass those specific levels. And it's been proven time and time again, especially when we go over these things.
Yeah, Bovin, you're absolutely right, brother. GOAI is absolutely him at the moment. 51%. No red candles, Bovin, as you astutely pointed out on the 5-minute chart. There isn't this little bugger here. I mean, it's green on this platform. I look at my other platform, it's red. So we're not jiving, but we're going to go with this one over here. So no red candle since the breakout, which started happening right at 11 o'clock. This is a fantastic look on GOAI. It's a 667 high. It's got a topping tail inverse hammer candle through the $0.5. The the obvious support level, I would say, is VWAP right here, which is overlapping with 6. But it's still one of those anomalous situations where VWAP is ahead, substantially ahead of the 10 EMA on the 5. 10 EMA on the 5 is showing me 5 2/3. VWAP showing me 6. So I'm going to go with 6 only because it's the whole dollar level. Let's watch here, Bhavin. I mean, it is a topping tail candle right now, inverse hammer candle. That's never a good look. But again, I really want to stress it's not the same on a small cap gapper to see a topping tail candle than it would be on an Apple or an Amazon or a Microsoft, because this one is an intraday trade. So longs are going to be aggressively taking profits at the highs, which causes some of these topping tail candles. That's my submission to you guys. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. I'm still holding SUNE. I'm looking at taking out the majority of the position into 71. Knowing full well that the low of the area consolidation is around 170. So I'm trying to take it ahead of that, right? It seems to be finding a buyer here. I think it's got a double bottom, at least for the moment, on SUNE at 73. So we just opened up a new candle on the 5-minute chart, but we had 73 and 73, yes. So double bottom into 73. Now I got back into MOBX, tighter stop now, because look, it held at the volume weighted average price. It showed me a couple of bottoming tail candles. I'm giving it to the low of the 1125 candle, the low of which is 60. I think I've got the wrong trade here on MOBX, but we're already involved in it. I'm going to allow this to kind of manifest. If it loses 60, we'll go 0 for 2 on MOBX. But I need to focus here on GOAI because this is the one that's breaking out. And you don't just get green candles like this by accident. So I'm going to have to figure a way in here, man, but it's extended. It's extended. I needed to come in a little closer to 6. It gave me that opportunity. Let's see if it can give me another one here. So this current candle has a high of 651, current 1135 candle. The prior bar low is 614, but that's awfully close to 6, right? Especially with how quickly the price action developed here, right? From 450 into the breakout level of 667. So here it comes. It's coming down into the quarter dollar. There was resistance here at initial resistance at the quarter dollar. Let's see what we can get. So maybe we can get in, like, just say 630. I'd have to give it to the prior bar low, which I said was 614. So let's just say 609. That way it gives me a bit more room. All right, so that many shares. All right, Sia's got something for us at the big desk.
Yeah, just a couple numbers coming here. 4-week bill auction came in, and the 8-week bill auction number came in. 4-week standing at 3.615%. Not a big increase from the previous number at 3.64. And the 8-week bill auction at 3.635%. Again, a very minuscule jump from 3.625%. Back to you.
Check over.
Good stuff there, guys. All right, yeah, I'm just looking at something here from standpoint. Trying to get something over here. Make life a little bit easier. We're nicely on the move with that. I'm not finding anything too attractive at this moment. I mean, the Nasdaq could potentially break down here. Have to keep an eye on the multiple variables that come with that: NVDA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. Oh, what's that one? Google. It's not a horrible print there, Gore. What's going on there, brother? I haven't seen I've seen you at Las Playas. I haven't seen how the trading has been so far today. Just focusing on some other things here. As for this, not too bad of a look, right? We can always talk about our risk profile being defined. The thing is that we want to go with the momentum as well, too. We don't want to overcomplicate things, so we'll keep an eye on what Google's up to. Could be a good potential entry and a solid entry right there. As for Broadcom, how have you been performing? Wow, okay. We like this, but counter trend once again. You have to be really, really tight on your risk. If it breaches that previous high and that pivot high, then you want to get out of the trade. Any form of a pullback, as you can see here on the 5-minute time frame, consistent lower highs. So if you end up holding, say, 317 and you don't really head up into the neck of the woods of that 318 mark, maybe you'll get a continuation and curl over, because it does seem to be the strongest out of the $1 trillion club. I mean, Apple broke through that support. We have the majority of them trading below the volume weighted average price, and then we have Broadcom essentially living in its own world right now. So not too bad of a look over there. Now, AMD stronger than NVDA. We take a look at some of the quantum names time and time again. Adobe hasn't been performing well. We all know that. And some of the cybersecurity names for quite some time were taking a hit, but slowly starting to find their footing as we had CrowdStrike breaking through some key support or key resistance zones. And that's exactly what we want to see. I heard Sean talking about some of these names here this morning, like Webull, DraftKings. We know that SoFi and Robinhood have actually been getting destroyed as of late, higher PEs, not something that we want to see. And I believe he was mentioning something along the lines of NVDA having a PE of like 20-something. I love that because, Sharif, you and I were talking about this before when we were talking about Google, and for quite some time, the stock just kept getting beat up. But the forward PE was like sitting around like 23. And then sure enough, a couple months later, look what the stock has done. It had a lot of things going for it, obviously, that led to that momentum in such a substantial return in such a large name, which I think can still continue to go once it's kind of digested the move that we've experienced. I think NVDA is going to be the next thing, to be honest with you. $1 trillion. I think the street is undervaluing this now. In my opinion.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They're undervaluing this name right now. I mean, you look at the past couple of years, it's been on a substantial run. What we have going on right now, I know you like custom ASICs, but also Jensen.
But they're doing it, Joey.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Jensen's like, man, we're horizontally and we're vertically integrated. So essentially, these guys are willing to compete, and I'm going to give them the head start, right? Like, it's like, hey, man.
100%.
Like these guys are at like kilometer 6 in a 10K race when some of these larger mega cap names are really just starting to build their own and may not even find the success or the quality in which NVIDIA can already provide. So I think that's really huge, especially a guy like poor Mark Zuckerberg out here trying to do everything in his power, but just can't seem to get some things right. So
frickin' Zuck.
I think I'm going to stick with his name. None of this AI trade works essentially without Jensen and company, and that's why I think it's my favorite stock.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think it was, we talked about this, you and I, many times. The fact that Jensen was throwing his hat into the custom silicon ring through ASICs, that was the right move. He was wise to what the trend was in the market. And, you know, very obviously intelligent individual.
And during the keynote, he's like, man, he's not even calling it that anymore. He's just calling it accelerated computing. He's like, this is what it is. We're just getting better. Accelerated computing, essentially.
All right. Here we go. We did really well here on GOAI into the high. We didn't quite take it out at the 75, but it did break trend here. It has a lower high here above it, so I got the hell out. Prior bar high, 659. We couldn't shake the sellers at around 60. Nick Dub, I did see what you're saying, but I couldn't respond to you because I had my hands on the keyboard. But you were very astutely pointing out that there was a seller at 55, 655 on GOAI. More accurate, you could not be. We kept rejecting that level. We did breach it, though. A very momentary breach, and then right back down it goes. So I'm not done, I don't think, my trade on GOAI. I want us to set up a little bit better, and then we're going to get involved. Very pleased, though, with the trading this morning. Let's keep this up. Let's see if they, we'll take them long and short, whatever is working here at the moment. Continuing to watch SUNE. I feel that this one may be on the way back to the 10 EMA on the 5. I think it goes back to 180. We've got 84 short. The question for me is, if I'm right about the retracement into the 10 EMA on the 5 on SUNE, do I add into that position? Right? Here comes 78, 79. I think this is headed back to the 10 EMA. Now, it may breach it by a shekel or two. Shout out to my man Nimrod. Hope he's doing well. And then, whether or not it breaches it on a closing basis, we're going to have to wait and see. But you can bet your bottom dollar if this comes back into 84, no part of this trade is going to go against me. We've de-risked the majority of the situation. Very pleased about that. Still holding the entire position here on Mob Deep. Probably behooves me to wet the beak a little bit, which is what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and do that. Take some profits, making it back here on Mob Deep. MOBX looking for a bigger move, man. I'm seeing a whole bunch of higher lows. I'm seeing a respect for VWAP, higher lows, higher highs, but it's going to have bamboozlement, sadly, along the way. Whether or not we can move up into 67, that would be my 1R on MOBX. Now, we're not far enough away from my entry for me to feel quite confident here, but I'd like to see a price spike up 67, possibly even test 69. That's what I'm going to be looking at there. Don't be a shook one, says Zach Grinder. I do like that. Look, it's zigging and zagging, which is fine with me if it zigs and zags, so long as it holds trend. And trend for me are marginally higher lows and marginally higher highs. It doesn't have to be a rocket ship.
USO is going.
Go ahead, Joey.
There's something going on here with oil. It's breaking out. Volume really starting to kick in, guys. Look at this increase increase, and look at the tape. It's just clean flushes to the top side at this point. So there might be something along those lines of a catalyst coming out here because we have another volume anomaly going off. It's like really, really breaking out. So it's only a matter of time until we figure something in regards to this. If there's anything that you guys know, yeah, Iran hit Israelis oil. Yeah, so there we go. It's starting to escalate. These guys are bombing their energy plants and each other's energy plants, and it's not going to.
I'm going to log in. I have the.
You have that?
Yeah. So you give me a minute because I have to log in. Once I get, I'll update you.
See, let us know if you see anything along those lines in regards to what these guys are doing, because there goes a massive spike. We go from negative to up almost 0.5% here with the volume increase. This is absolutely substantial and insane. A breakout, and that's what I was saying. Be cautious, man. If you guys were going to play the breakdown, you would be getting squeezed, and that's not a good look. We talked about the supply zones at 120. It's irrelevant considering we're so newsline sensitive here in oil, and it's just really, really going. Now we're up 1% here, Sharif. Something big time's going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it here. Just give me a minute.
Why does crude go up but Brent go down? I have no idea, to be honest with you. Now up to 123. This is really going up over 1% here. Yeah, holy volume is correct. So this is an insane look on USO, and it doesn't look like it wants to stop now 1 1/3. This is a big time move, guys, and be cautious. Don't try to short this, especially stand in front of this volume. Not a good look whatsoever. 1.4 now up 1.5%, and look at the tape. It's not going to stop. We're going to hit 2% here momentarily, up to 124. This is some of the craziest volatility that we've actually seen on this. Even throughout what we've been experiencing, now 2% right there, boom. Oh, 1.6.
U.S. will not implement a crude export ban. WTI spikes $2 on news. U.S. will not U.S. will not implement crude export ban. I don't know why this thing's not letting me in. I'm trying to log in here into the Twitter, but it's just not letting me in at the moment. So just keep going here until
absolutely. Yeah. Now 2 and 11 there, so 2 and 10 to roughly a massive pop, and this volume is going to continue to climb here, guys. It doesn't look like we're going to slow down anytime soon. And if we want to take a better look at it, you breach through that 121, and then off to the races you go. The positive, what we will take out of the positive is that you don't have that directly inverse correlation between what we have going on in oil and the overall market, because we would, if that was the case, we would see an aggressive flush in the overall market, the SPY and the Nasdaq I'm referring to here, guys. So 124 and change, a massive move there, Sharif. This is going to get really ugly. I don't think anybody's shorting this at this point. It's way too dangerous. See ya.
Yeah, Israel's Bazan oil refineries were hit, and I have a report here saying that from the Israel's energy ministry that the oil refineries in Haifa Bay were hit, but their damage is not significant.
Okay, so maybe, I don't know, I don't want to call it too light, but the market is really reacting to it. Keep an eye on what we have going on for selling volume as well, too, guys. We don't want any of this to continue, each other just going after the oil refineries, because we're going to see this continue here, Sharif, and that's going to be a climb in USO and the spike of what we see at the pumps as well.
All right, thank you. Yeah, maybe it is because I'm calling it Twitter. I have no idea, brother. Maybe you're right about that. All right, continuing to watch here.
That's ballsy, Los Polios.
What's wrong, Joey?
Oh, he's saying USO short right now, brother. That's a bold move, my friend.
A bold move, eh?
Yes, sir.
He's a bold guy. Continuing to watch.
No sound. We just weren't talking 604.
Yeah. We were just letting President Trump tell you how much he's going to be winning. I love that one. He saw he tried to do it at the State of the Union.
Did he?
Because he knows it got meme status, right? Mm-hmm. That whole winning thing, and he started doing it at the State of the Union.
Can I tell you something?
Yes, sir.
I know this isn't going to unplease it's not going to be. A lot of people are going to be
I like
mad
controversy, at me. Joey.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are going to be mad at me.
Okay.
Listen, I'll give you guys credit where it's due. The states sweeped Canada, Paralympics, women's, men's hockey. They beat us in the World Series. I was kind of happy. I was like, yes, thank you. Finally, you guys lost at something, and that was the World Baseball Classic.
What is this? What is that? Assassino?
Their first loss. I'm like, you guys had to lose at some point. Yeah, I mean, that's who they are. They're U.S. #1. I know, sure, a lot of you guys are going to say that, but I'm just going to be honest. You had to take an L somewhere. I mean, and I'm happy that eventually you guys got it. But, I mean, Dodgers are probably going to probably win again the World Series again.
Oh boy, I don't want to hear that. I don't think Neil wants to hear that either.
I love
You're
you
lucky.
all.
You're lucky. He had the headphones on.
It was too
Joey's
much
just said that the Dodgers are going to win the World Series again. Get him, Neil.
It was just too much winning.
He's coming.
Listen,
Neil's coming in fast and furious.
Eventually, you guys had to lose somewhere. It was just too much winning.
Oh my God.
It's too easy. It's literally too easy.
It really wasn't, Joe. They had to go 7 games and they barely beat us. Barely beat us.
No, brother.
Come on, Joe.
Listen,
come on, bro.
As an individual who played sports, in my opinion, yes, it may on the outside have seemed like it was like close.
Yes.
But on the grand scheme of things, as soon as that ball got wedged, it was a bad omen. It was a bad omen.
I agree with that.
You know what? Because the series should have been over there.
Sports.
It should have been over right there, and that wasn't the case. You guys won too much. Eventually, you had to pull back a little.
All right, man. We got to go to Sia. She's got news. Sorry, Neil. Sorry. Yeah.
Real quick here, U.S. Lockheed Martin F-35 jet had to make an emergency landing at the U.S. Air Base, and reports saying by CNN that the F-35 jet was reportedly believed to be caused by an Iranian fire.
Well, that's really interesting. I have a hard time believing that thing's a stealth fighter. It's probably really hard to pick up on radar. We'll have to find out. Neil.
Okay, before I come in, I just want to point out what's going on in U.S. I know you guys are already covering this, but this move in USO, to put it into perspective, it's only now, look at how crazy this is. It's only now breaking out that top from yesterday. And so in perspective, that's how far we've gone in just the last couple of minutes. And when you look at it on like a 15-minute candle, like really, it's I'm not saying it's an inside day, but this hasn't even ripped all of the faces off. If we close over like holding this 123 to 124, this could still leg it up. We've seen what happens with these oil names. And I'm gonna bring this back because I have to. Look, something that's upward trending, if it breaks out, it's not crazy, in my opinion, as big of a candle as that is. So I'll take the, look, man, I wanted Canada to win. I wanted the Jays to win, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? You got to be able to come to the U.S. team was so much better than Venezuela on paper. The judge just did not show up. Sometimes it happens. The better team doesn't always win. I think the Jays were playing better ball than the Dodgers last year in the playoffs, but the Dodgers were actually the better squad. It gets frustrating, the hockey stuff, because we were the better squad in hockey. But that's why you show up and you have to perform. No matter, because like ultimately, like in trading, I'm going to skip to the lesson of the day. I'm not really skipping to the lesson of the day, but like you can have something right and still be wrong. You know what I mean? Like that's the example I want to give. Like it doesn't always have to work out that way. Like the level I liked on Intel ended up shorting into VWAP. But I got stopped out like 4 times before it actually set up. So even though it goes into VWAP eventually, like it has to break down into a complete V shape for me to go green on it. Usually it's like a 1 in 3. You know, I get 1 out of 3 of those that works, and then you're green on it, because that's if you're managing your risk to award. So yeah, A+ setup works doesn't mean you're going to be green. The better team on the field isn't always going to win. Bad news for the Toronto Blue Jays. Trey Savage will start the season on the IL. I don't know if you heard about that. So 3/5 of the Jays rotation is literally going to be on the shelf to start the year. But it doesn't matter. I still think we're going to win it all. But nah, man, the USA, you got to give credit. Like they were the better team, and they just happened to lose.
U.S. President Donald Trump will be discussing trade and other things with Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi, and I have comments coming here by Japan's Prime Minister. Global economy is about to experience huge hit because of Iran, and believe that only Trump can achieve peace. I'm ready to reach out to partners to achieve objectives.
I mean, there it goes, right? We're starting to experience this pullback. We were up over 2% here, and then nice short. Los Pollos, did you stick with that? There was an additional move higher, and then it started to print this candle. So a big-time move, and if you have the ability to capture this pullback here, then by all means. We would think that the market would be ripping on this news, considering we're starting to pull back aggressively, and we thought that we would tank on that up move, where we are now down over 1% and a bit from that specific level. We're not seeing that correlation between the two, the inverse correlation that is. So I think that's a positive sign for the overall market. They're putting it to the side, and maybe we're just looking at this as noise now, considering the market isn't reacting, Sharif.
All right, I got our X there, so we should be able to see everything coming in. Yes. So Prime Minister Takaichi, she's right now sitting next to President Trump in the Oval Office, and they're obviously taking questions from the media. So wild card time, right? We know how President Trump loves to kind of ad-lib and basically answer any question that really comes his way. So we've got that right here. Sia's on the 1s and 2s. I've got it right here. We've got it as well on the TVs in front of us. So anything that comes our way, we'll be able to get that to you guys. Get it, Jay. Jay Lee's 80 cents now in the money on his triple Q short. Not just 50, although I often take some profits at 50. Shout out to you, Jay. Good trade, brother. Keep us updated on your position, and we'll see what's good. All right, Bovin, I need your advice, brother. GOAI finding a little bit of support at 6-ish. Some bottoming tail candles that do breach 6. Most of the prints, though, well, the closing prints, that is, are above $6 area. Below VWAP, though, for the moment. So what I don't know how you feel about this, Bovin, but there's another minute or so left on this 5-minute candle. If we get a breach of this current candle high by the subsequent candle that's about to open, I might take GOAI long again. Here it is. So that would be an entry of, say, around 615. So let's get this done now. So we're going to go at around, let's just say 615-ish. I'd have to give it to prior bar low, right, which is 588, right? Okay, so that many shares. Good. All right, so we'll set that up. So in case I do want to take it, I'm ready to go on that. And oops, there we go. Now we're good. So my break would be about 615, give or take or so. If next candle is above 610, it would be a long. Shout out to my man Bovin. He's thinking the same thing that I am. I'm just thinking prior bar high, 613, so I get in at around 615, same difference. But it's selling off now. It's about to lose prior bar low. Prior bar low on GOAI is 88, 588. Current bar low, 91. So we're holding it for now. Let's see how this one does. I'm still out of the money, man, on my MOBX position, and I kind of don't feel good about it because it's putting in lower highs. It keeps defending that 60 penny area, but the shorts are getting more aggressive here on MOBX. I'm out of the money on it, and I don't want to stop out here for no reason, especially if it's not, breaking through the level that I earmarked for the out. So prior bar high, let's see if we can breach it, 62.41. We're showing 62 and a fifth, so we're not taking it out quite yet. Let's see what this one has to offer. I may take this out break even. Pretty much break even at the moment. Let's see if this can pop off. It's about to breach prior bar high. There it goes. It's breaching prior bar high as we speak, but I'm still out of the money, marginally out of the money. 62.66 is where I'm going to get out here because I don't like having to manage this one. If it sets up above 64, I'm going to get back in. So that's a break-even trade for me. It doesn't really change anything. Back to GOAI. This one is at 15s. Here we go. So this one does look like it might be catching a bit of a bid. I'm going to have to wait a little bit, though, on this one because it doesn't seem to have continuation. So it did technically breach prior bar high, 13, area high, current bar high, 15. Look at that, just drops right into 1. The spread on GOAI is quite displeasing here, Bovin. I mean, it's 7 pennies, 9 pennies at times. That's tough to trade, especially if you're trying to catch volatility here. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer before I execute on this one. See ya.
Yeah, Japan's Prime Minister and President Donald Trump are currently speaking. A few comments from the Prime Minister saying that we will be discussing economic security in areas such as energy and minerals, and they have also presented proposals to calm energy market, and that Japan is also in talks with Iran at the moment. Thank
you very much, Sia, for that.
Hold on one second. I got my boy Adam James here. He's talking about SoFi. Brother,
he's talking smack about SoFi?
No, he's saying let's go SoFi. All right, yeah, we'll give that to you. I mean, that's 5 cents, my boy. And then if we head over here, 73 to 83. I mean, but if you're long, then by all means, I hope it works out for you from an intraday standpoint. A nice bounce off of the bottom there, brother. 1664, but just starting to really chop around here. Same thing with the Nas, guys. Like, we're gonna have to really expand this price action. And one thing that really grinds my gears here is just the grind the gears.
Yeah, that's your line, guy.
That's my thing.
That is your line.
That is my thing. So essentially, it's just all these overlapping candles, right? It makes it a little bit more difficult to pick a direction here. So you want to? What is Adam saying, my boy over there? Watch it.
Joe, you need to get on that DVLT squeeze, bro.
All right, let me
no
see,
shorts
bro.
available. I love it.
Let me check it, bro.
Yeah, go.
DVLT. Were you trading in that here
No,
earlier
we
today?
looked at it though, because this is a small cap gap.
All right, Data Vault. I like
Yeah.
this though. Respect, bro, on that one for sure. This is a nice move. What we're seeing here is consistent higher lows, and this is what you want, right? Like you can just have a defined risk profile. It's like 5 cents, and if we crack the back end of this trend line, then you just get out of dodge. So you get a pullback, a retest, then maybe we can get involved on this. So. I like this DVLT, play around with some small caps because I'm not liking what's going on in the larger names right now. Sharif's still short SUNE. I'm gonna have to take a look at that one here momentarily, but I believe it is lunchtime now, guys, so you know what time it is.
What time is it, Joey?
It's happening now.
Oh!
It's most definitely happening now, not later. Oh, okay, but we're going off to see ya.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, just some comments here again from U.S. President Donald Trump saying we can take out Karg Island anytime we want. Iran leadership is gone. They are looking for new leaders again and thought impact of Iran would be worse, but will be over soon. And final here, Iran excursion will also be over soon.
All right, man. Let's see. What are you laughing at there, my boy?
Bro.
No, well, you can't just say nothing and be giggling over there.
Nothing, man. What, man? Nothing about you, obviously. There he is.
Who is it, man?
I've killed them all. Right? Like, I don't know what to say, bro. Like,
well, I can tell you what we could say over there.
Oh, man.
Dang. Shout out to 316 Day not too long ago. All right. Let's see, guys. Let's head over to how our boy Salesforce has been doing here today. Not too good. Let's take a look from a daily if we find any form of recovery. I mean, we did break the backside of this trend. We get a nice 20-point move, but no continuation thus far. I mean, if the market decides that it wants to break out, will Salesforce continue with it? But one thing that we are starting to notice, and it's taking significantly longer than what we thought, and I guess that's just the narrative of how this is going to work. But look where we're starting to open up, lower and lower and lower. And what I'm thinking here is that we just have this massive shelf, and we did this the other day. I think this would be a substantial pullback, and I don't know if we're in that type of sentiment right now. That would be 14% from the previous high. I'm not going to phase it. I'm not going to write it off or anything along those lines, but I don't think that we're this weak right now, considering earnings are still relatively strong. But what I would prefer is as garbage as the tariff tantrum was leading into that, the sell-off was at least rapid and quick, but then the recovery even quicker. So instead of us chopping around within this range, unless you're an iron condor trader, you really love that. But that's not necessarily the case right now. I would rather have a cleaner and swifter sell-off, and then we can rebound maybe equally as quick or even faster, right, in which we've experienced before what happened in April, but right now it's just a slow, steady grind to lower levels. And that to me, it's just boring, and I'm not going to call it death by 1,000 paper cuts, but it kind of feels like that, doesn't it? All right, guys, Neil, we're going to see ya, and then Neil with his lesson of the day.
All right, we're just going to the lesson of the day, everybody. Sia's working on some stuff right behind me, but I alluded to this earlier, and I kind of said I was spoiling it, not just now when we were talking about baseball randomly, but earlier in the day. I'll get to Boyle in a second because that's a potential trade. But I posted up here in the Academy. I'm just going to read it off for everybody on risk management. I had a good conversation with a trader who mentioned they were pulling back on U.S. market trading at the back half of the month because they hit their monthly drawdown limit. Not something set by the firm, but self-imposed. This is a trader who has made money over the last year or so, and I was so impressed. Many traders don't even acknowledge when they are down in the first place. Having this in place forced him to confront a small slump and take action. Traders have to be honest with themselves. And so what I want to, I'll get that out of the way, and you don't need the chart here. Oh, well, we're not bouncing on, I guess I'm not taking that trend long on Boyle. What's impressive about this is you have to understand at a prop firm, you get a daily loss limit as a trader, right? So that's your daily control for losses. But if you have a bunch of reasonable small losses in a month, you could be you could end up down 9 days out of 10 or trading days out of 10 halfway through the month or something crazy like that. But at no point have you blown past any of your stops. All of your trades have been pretty reasonable, yet you are in a bit of a slump. And you could be in a situation as well where you've made money going into it, So you're just like, well, I'm not negative P&L over the last quarter or the last year or anything. And then you find yourself not really acknowledging where you're at in the situation that you happen to be in that short term. And what I loved about this, the notion was, it was something that was self-imposed. Traders have to have their own rules to protect themselves from themselves. And having some kind of in this particular case, it's just if he hits this number down at any point during a calendar month, regardless, it's just an alert for him that, okay, well, now on this section of strategies, I'm gonna back off a little bit because it hasn't been that good. Because what ends up happening, and I know how many times have you heard me say something along the lines of, hey, I'm just gonna take the setups that are there, and if they pay me in the long run, then that's how I roll, and blah, blah, blah. And so therefore I'll have situations like today in Intel. If you look at Intel in the morning yesterday, you get the pop, the first, this is the opening range candle. So it goes into that one. That fade works. The double top works into VWAP. Then when it sets up another trend break in the afternoon, it did a topping tail, and then this trend reversal worked out pretty clean to the volume weighted average price. There's very few times where you would have been cleanly stopped out without getting a win, but it's muted win, stop out, stop out, stop out, stop out, and then finally I get the one that goes into VWAP. Now the thing about that is, there is a point at which you just can't have that much confidence on a mean reversion trade. I have to know that not only has that been working over the last half year or last quarter or so, is it working in the last couple of weeks, in this month that we're trading in? And if it's not, then maybe I don't just, I got wicked out, sets up again, just take it again. You don't have to have that type of a mentality. Now, if it's been working not only the last 6 months, but the last 3 months and the last couple of weeks, and it's still a good strategy for me, then yeah, fine. You can be a little bit more consistent and aggressive with it. But if I was in a situation where, hey man, the last 4 or 5 times you did this on Intel, it was the same thing. It was dirty too many times, so you couldn't get it all back. Maybe I can't take as many swings at it. If the same thing happens tomorrow on this type of setup again, and then maybe twice next week, I have to be able to note that and adjust accordingly, be a little bit less aggressive with it. So it's because it's so easy to get lost if you've had success over a longer period of time of those little, hey, something is changing in my strategy and I want to be attuned to it. So if you're not that sort of dedicated to your individual recording and strategies, sometimes even having something as simple as that, hey, if I get down X amount in the middle of a month, it hits a trigger. And for this trader, it's not it wasn't even an amount that was going to threaten or be incredibly negative. It was just enough to say, hey, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. And if you know what that's all about. So that's the lesson of the day. It wasn't very technically based or anything like that. I just think risk management is important. And I really like that notion of having a line in the sand in the middle of a month, because prop traders get paid monthly, just for anyone out there that doesn't know this. If you're a prop trader, you get paid monthly. Every settlement is monthly. Everything you look at is monthly. It doesn't matter how good a day you had or how good a week you had. If you don't end the month green, you don't get paid, right? If you're up 10 grand and then you lose 11 grand on the last day of the month, you didn't get paid, man. You're running to the next month with a down cycle. So inside of that month, hitting a number that says, hey, that's a little bit too much this month, I'm going to back off a little bit. And then self-imposing, I thought that was incredibly impressive. And I don't drop names out or anything like that when I'm talking about traders from other floors and stuff that I'm always constantly talking to at Real Trading. But in this particular case, they know who they are. Sometimes they watch the show, and if they are watching the show, you already know that I was impressed with it because we were chatting about it this morning. That level of discipline is so incredibly important, but it's not just discipline. It's self-awareness and honesty with oneself as a trader, which is so important. Because if you're not honest with yourself in this business, you're gonna it's so much easier to get wrecked. Right, so have that there. I thought that showed an incredible amount of discipline. You guys know who it is. You could probably even guess who it is that I was talking to. I'm talking to Sharif and Joe. They probably could guess within 3 guesses who I was discussing, but I don't want to drop their name. I'm going to end here by telling you the issue with the lunch today is it came insanely early at like 10 something. So it's been sitting a while, and then it was a small amount of protein again, and the chicken's a little bit dry and it was a little bit cold. And double the carbs. I hate to have to do this, but I'm gonna drop like a 5.4 when all things considered. So I can't give it a good rating. I can't. Good luck, guys.
Thank you for that. I'll be paying mine too when I grab my own lunch, Neil. I'm probably just gonna get the chicken and not the carbs from that. But truly, but yeah, let's talk about what's going on in the conference right now with US President Donald Trump and Japan's Prime Minister. When asked about the $200 billion for the military, US President Donald Trump saying we want to be in the best shape. Other comments coming from President Trump saying, I expect Japan to step up, but we don't need anything from anyone, but it's appropriate. Also, after yesterday's FOMC decision, Trump has said that Fed Chair Powell should be lowering interest rates immediately. And Trump has said the Fed building project is out of control and Powell is stubborn, incompetent, and not smart.
I was literally just going to read that out. Thank you for reading that, Sia, because, yeah, he's coming in hard right now. He's also making some pronouncements about Japan, China, and Europe to get oil through the Strait of Hormuz. He's talking about Iran. He says they're close to being demolished. And only thing is the Strait of Hormuz, that's kind of like what's keeping them, I guess, in the game, so to speak, whatever. Yeah, Oval Office conference, guys. That's where we're getting all this right now. President Trump with the Japanese Prime Minister. Forget her. How do you say her name again? Takehachi? Forget her name. Yeah, so that is the look. Yeah, that's what you guys seeing right there, what Assassino has on there. That's the production side. So the lower TVs are all like those lower screens. Those are all the production screens. There's Assassino's hand right there. And then on top of that, we've got all the different business networks and, news networks and everything. And there's Fabian on the right. He's jamming up a storm.
What's he doing?
Well, Fabian?
Yeah.
He's coding usually. I mean,
I thought you were saying.
He's typically killing it.
Yeah, all right. So
shout out to the man, Fabian, who helped me a lot, by the way, with this vibe coding thing. Definitely needed somewhere to start, and he was there. So shout out to Fabian. Yes, Fabian still has all his hair MF Dangerous. I know we were talking about him donating it. Fabian, what happened to that, brother? I know you were about that life.
Still waiting, man.
Oh, am I plugged in? Yeah, I am plugged in. He got distracted. They can hear you, right? No, he says he got distracted. He really wants to do it. I know that's the kind of guy he is, so it's coming in. It's coming in soon. We'll do a whole event for it. If you don't know who Fabian is, he's one of the production guys. He's the OG, and he's got great freaking hair that anybody would like to have, trust me. So donating it, I think, would be very good for somebody who needs it, and shout out to him. Anything you want to talk about here, Joey?
Yeah, there's always something that we can go over here. I don't know why I can't figure this out here. They changed things up on TradingView. I'm just trying to plug another algo in, but it's not allowing me to do so. So AC Slater to that right now, guys. We'll take a look at what we got going on. So whatever move we had in USO, we go up over 2.5% and pull right back. So shout out to my boy Los Pollos, who's been short off of that high. A lot of signals displaying themselves on that one. DVLT holding up pretty good there. My boy Adam James heading off to Florida soon. He said not too long ago. So this guy living the nomad dream for sure. Digital nomad. You got to head over. Hey, my friend, if I would be beautiful.
Hey, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Brother, we need to go to the other side of the planet, and I need to watch some of your vlogs. Head over to Da Nang for me, and then let me know how it is, and then relay all of that information back to me if you possibly can.
If you guys don't know, Joey watches videos at work and sends me videos about how great of a place Vietnam is. I'm just like, go already, Joe.
I mean,
he loves it.
If only if it were that easy,
yeah, fair enough.
Just go. Is in the cards. Yes, all right. Good to hear.
Joey, I want to interrupt. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard now saying we attacked and damaged a. Okay, we're gonna pause for a second. We got to go to Sia.
Yeah, really quick here. Qatar LNG CEO has said to Reuters that the Iranian attack overnight has damaged 17% of its LNG production capacity and would take 3 to 5 years to repair the damage. But apart from this, also, Iran's Revolutionary Guards have said that they attacked and damaged the U.S. F-35 fighter jet in a statement. So it's confirmed here.
Yeah, well, according to them. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's not something that I think a lot of the buyers of the F-35, and there are plenty because it's a multi-country joint venture, are going to want to hear. Canada is one of those as well. If you guys don't know, we're kind of going back and forth between the Saab, which is a Swedish fighter, and the F-35, which we helped, in the production of different technological parts. We'll wait and see, but that is not a good development. At least I'm thinking just from the military planning perspective, that doesn't look good. So we'll have to wait exactly and get confirmation. But it's been hard to get really accurate information because then the Iranian Revolutionary Guard will say something, then the Pentagon comes out and says that's a lie and contradicts them. So kind of the fog of war, so to speak. We got to go back up to see it.
Thank you, Sharif. ECB sources are also reporting here that discussion over possible rate hikes may need to begin in April unless there is a quick resolution in the Middle Eastern conflict. But also, U.S. President Donald Trump still talking. A quick update. Trump saying NATO is getting nicer, but as far as I'm concerned, they're late. Sending it right back to you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. We're going to move on here because I can't plug this in. But this is something else that we have going on. It's been identifying things. I have more. I don't know why it's not correlating and transitioning over to this platform here, essentially. But yeah, I have 5 now, 5 algorithms that are going to be running. That's hopefully as of this evening. I'm just going to get those up and running, man, and get that.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Are you running them on Sim on IB at home? Why not? Run them on Sim and see what comes out.
Well, essentially, like what you have here on TradingView is it backlogs everything. So it's like, I mean, it's running Sim right now. You know what I mean? It's going, so it's just may as well enough with all that noise and just get it over to moving live. Because when I go over and I look at it right now, there probably could be a couple of open positions if I go through a couple of tickers and we can see what's going on there. So it is running Sim. Sim essentially here. But aside from that, guys, it's been a quiet one here for me. I don't see anything overly attractive. There's the volatility in USO, but I feel like we're going to get that curl over. We didn't get that with that correlation here. We're just moving sideways in the SPY. We had FOMC yesterday, and I thought that the market would be a little bit more in play than what it currently is. So nothing crazy, and nor am I going to force anything. See ya.
Really quick here, Japan's prime minister has also said that Japan is open for dialogue with China. And Trump has said that China trip has been postponed for a month and a half. And he will also be speaking Japan's praises in China in China. But also the conference has ended. The U.S. president has said that they will be talking about trade currently and what their next steps are. But if there's any update, of course, I'll be letting you know.
Thank you very much, Sia.
Thank you, Sia, for that.
Can I bring a new one to everybody's attention? KC526 just pointed this out in the chat. Very good breakout here, Case. Good call. 50% in the Ville of Green. ELA is the ticker. This is the 5-minute look. Broke out. Looks like yesterday in the aftermarket. Continues today. Definitely a lot more volume today than we had yesterday, but that still is not saying that much. We only have 1.26 million shares traded on ELA on the day, so it is lightly traded. Let's take a quick look at what the spread is. I'm seeing 25 on the ask, 8 on the bid. So a little bit wide, but as you can see, it's breaking through $17. $17 was the flat top that we couldn't shake from 10.15 till about 10.55. It took it out now with this current 5-minute bar that has a high of 17.24. Prior bar low, and there's a big gap between the prior bar high and the current bar low vis-a-vis the spread. That's kind of the problem, one of the problems with spread. So current bar low 1660, current bar prior bar low 1660, prior bar high 1676, current bar low 1695, current bar high 1724, as I mentioned. So keep your eye on this one. Not a bad one. Thanks, Case, for pointing this one out. Good luck. Sorry, Joey.
Yeah, no, I mean, by all means, I have nothing going on, right? We're just going to be continuously scrolling. I mean, we head over to our default here, which is essentially Tesla. Do we want to sell anything right here? Do we want to buy anything right here? No, to be honest with you, I'm in the middle of a range. It can go either way here. We can head over a little bit back, and now we have our volume-weighted average price. We're south of that, but we have a flat top up here, 384. You look at the first 5 minutes of the session, selling. I mean, this is the pre-market imbalance right here. You open up, you have this candle, but I mean, you've been holding that, but which way are we gonna really go? And I think we have to be extremely patient on this because, yeah, I understand that we're starting to form these lower highs, but look at the ebb and flow. It's a lot of overlapping candles. So the more we compress, can take some time, and as long as we stay within this range, wait for the volume to step in. I just don't get the vibe of it being a big-time breakout day. Look at the daily here on Tesla. I mean, we're in bear market territory in this name, down 23%. Right? Like if we're going to call 20% bear market, then we're down 23 and about 4/10. So essentially, this name has been weak in that downward channel in which we breached last week, and we thought that we'd have the ability to sit on the backside of this and continue to climb higher. That hasn't been the narrative. And then if we zoom out a little bit more, you can see that we're heading towards some key support levels, just like the Nasdaq is. Look at the weekly. Are you a buyer of it at this level? I mean, when there's blood in the streets, we can say, hey, look. But I think there's an opportunity here for Tesla to continue selling, and we know what's going on with the EV market. They're just losing share left, right, and center in Europe, okay? Yeah, you have the odd month where you have these upticks in China, but on the bigger picture, everything's still down year over year. And you know what's funny? Considering what we're seeing here in oil and the increase, and I see it on social media, people are like, I want to buy an EV, I want to buy an EV. You would think you would see a little bit more of an uptick here in Tesla, and but that hasn't been the case whatsoever.
This whole thing happened during the Ukraine Russia, the beginning in early 22.
Yeah.
I was telling Brenda, I'm like, my old man and I went to see a Model Y in Guelph. We drove all the way up.
About that.
Dude, he was 95 and he wasn't willing to budge a penny. And people were buying Teslas and selling them for 20 over sticker, 25 over sticker. That's not happening anymore.
That's not happening right now.
And quite frankly, we haven't been as long in the higher gas price environment. Let's see how long, if sentiment changes towards EVs, the longer we stay with 170. Do you see what it was this morning? By my place, 172.9.
So what was that going to put 93 at? Because that's what I put in.
Well, you put 93. You're insane. I put 91, but like I've never put 93.
Really?
No. Even for cars I own. Yeah. No, 91's fine.
Yeah, I mean 93 lasts longer, my boy.
Does it actually?
Yeah.
Does it? I didn't know that, but.
But anyways, aside from that, like I personally haven't seen these levels. I remember I was paying $2 during COVID for 93, and now it was probably some of the highest, 210. And it was $1.70 before all of this started going down. So that's a substantial increase. And if you're constantly going to the pump, at what point do you say, hey, if we have these continuous geopolitical issues, I'm sick of having this increased payment in gas. That's going to be an added expense onto your monthly expenses. And if you're a commuter, how long are you going to be like, do I just ditch this and then maybe go to somewhat of a hybrid?
Oh, my days.
I don't know. I think that's a question a lot of people have been asking themselves, and I've been seeing it circulating around social media quite often. Me personally, I don't have to spend that much on gas. I'm 15 minutes, I drive a couple kilometers a day, but if my commute was substantially longer, I would have to take that into consideration, especially if I wanted to lower my costs. I want to know what you guys think. Have you even considered heading into the EV space or buying a hybrid or anything along those lines?
Not really.
Because if that was the case, if we had more adoption to the electric vehicles, all this oil noise is essentially irrelevant outside of the airlines and a couple other things.
Well said. Guys, ACXP is going 733 high. It's pulling back in a little bit, 7 mid-teens, 716, 718. It's a decent spread, 1, 2, 3 pennies at the most. I haven't seen it open up wider than that. ACXP, the ticker, really good look and very, very strong. Flat top break, I want to say through 7, kind of, right? Like there were, as you can see here, bottom chart, there was a bunch of rejections in the mid to low 90s. I don't want to say it was a 7 flat top break. We only really attempted it a couple times. But this one seems to be kind of catching a bid at the moment separately. I've been keeping my eye on SER. I see it, Bovin. The only reason I didn't get in, take a gander. We didn't make a new high, right? This is the prior area high. So I was telling Bovin in the chat, I'm ready to go 226, 227. SER, it's breaking trend, but I don't want to put on my long goggles here because my bias was in a certain trading environment, these prolonged downtrends that end up getting broken, sometimes preceded by a sideways consolidation, tend to be really good setups. That is true, but that is true in a certain trading environment. I don't know if we're in it, so I'm going to need more confirmation. More confirmation means getting a worse price. I'm fine with that. I'm going to have to kind of just keep my eye out on that. But there goes. Where the hell is it? Show yourself. ACXP right into another area high. The squeeze is on now. 754 high of day. Keep your eye out on this one. Shout out to Case, man. She took $50 on ACXP. How are you in everything, Case? Get it. So here we go. Let's see if it comes back down. I'm going to have to flip this one onto the 5-second chart so that I can spot areas of support and resistance off which to pick up some shares. Okay, so I see an immediate area at around 715. There's definitely a buyer. I want to say 7 mid-teens. We're showing 29s right now, 28s on the bid. Let me set up my risk on this one. So let's just say, for example, I get in. Let's see if it breaches prior area high. So I'm going to need a couple of scenarios. So let's go 741, for example. In case, because this one probably going to catch a bid again. So 741, I would have to give it to 7, let's just say 14. All right, so that's that many shares. Good. So then I'm ready for it, and I can just use my punch-in key. So ACXP going here, guys, putting in a bit of an uptrend with some higher lows. So prior area low, not prior bar low, prior area low takes us down to about 719 or so. And then below that, as I mentioned, 713, 714 area. Looking to see if this one wants to catch a bit of a bid into the 40s. If it does, I'm going to go long for a possible $50 break again. That is the high of the day, 754 on the dot. But we'll have to wait and see whether this one can hold up. All right, down into 720 it goes. Okay, it's losing trend. Into 7. Now we're going to have to look at a different area of support, which is 7, of course, right? Because that's the breakout level that we were earmarking. So you can either pick it up as a dip trade there, right, and then take the risk through 7, or you can wait for confirmation above prior area high, which in my opinion is about 735 to about 740, Joey. So got to keep my eye out on this one. Let's see if we can take it long.
All right, Jason, Financial. All right, guys, $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Our friend, any thoughts on why the VIX is up less than 1%? Just got an F-35 hit, lost 17% of LNG production for 5 years, and 5,000 Marines on the way to the conflict. I mean, yeah, let's take a look at the VIX. We haven't really taken a look at it. Why is it less than 1%? Look at the overall market. And this is what I was talking about earlier, right? We didn't see that crazy reaction from the Nasdaq like we did in USO, right? If we're keeping our eye on USO. And this is what I continuously talk about. It's just significantly easier to be patient instead of buying calls here in the VIX. It's just so much easier to wait and purchase those puts. And I think this is going to be a good time to do so. You can use the volatility gauge on multiple underlyings and kind of just take a look at what we got going on here. It gapped up, but there's no, aside from what we got going on from the oil conflict, and this is the way, I don't know if it's the great example or the greatest comparison, but remember when we were talking about NVDA at the peak of that, every reaction and every partnership had a major reaction. And then near the tail end of that, the market was less reactive. So now what I have to take into consideration is, has the market essentially priced in what we have going on with the Middle East conflict and obviously the United States? Because it didn't react to what we just heard like USO did. So that's the way that I'm specifically going to be looking at it, is that the market will always shrug something off eventually. And they're like, all right, what is that new thing that we have to worry about? And I don't know if this conflict is it right now. We had a reaction. We had that couple solid weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, of when we were all over the place and you had the volatility spikes. But things are really starting to cool down, because it was really, really odd to see a substantial multi-point reaction in USO and then the market doing essentially nothing. So maybe it's not that fearful right now.
Good point. That's actually a great point. I'm continuing to watch ACXP here, showing me 12s, mid-teens, spreads opening up a little bit. Tightening up and opening up, it really does vary. I don't like what I'm seeing so far as a long, so I'm continuing to wait. It's not at 7, nor is it breaking prior area highs. I'm just sitting on my hands here waiting for the right entry, a bit of a consolidation, not too unusual. Current 5-minute bar is entirely engulfed by the prior green candle. I want to tell you that prior area high on the 5-second chart takes us to 726. Above that prior area high, again on the 5-second chart, is 734. So we're still putting in a bit of a downtrend, unbroken. On the smaller time frame, of course, I'm talking about the 5-second chart. So I'm going to continue to watch that for a possible entry. All the while, I'm seeing DLTH possibly move into 3,297. That's at the high of the day. I don't want to flip to it at the moment because I'm trying to focus on this one here. Comes into the quarter dollar. Can it breach prior area high? Again, as I mentioned, 26. Now you're getting selling at 23 and 24. Let's see if we can move above 26 on the bid, not the ask, vis-a-vis the spread. So continuing to watch here. Nothing for me to do at the moment because we're still downtrending. So ACXP is the one I'm talking about. It's up 38%. Pharmaceutical companies, late stage biopharmaceutical company focused on developing new class of small molecule antibiotics. It doesn't have a catalyst from what I can see today, but I could be wrong. Not on my blotter anyway. Continuing to watch here. There's a selling again in the mid to low 20s. So we're continuing to put in lower highs, lower area highs, not concurrent candles. Here we go, 27 on the ask now. Can we move above that on the bid and take out some prior area highs, showing 20 on the bid now? Yeah, there we go. So the spread's really opening up. Holy cow. Into 27, where I saw 29 on the ask, but the bid won't move up. The bid's sitting there at 20, 21, a little bit there. No continuation. Ends up being a topping tail candle. So, yep. Right back down to 7 low teens, and now the spread is really kind of opening up. I'm also watching SER, Bovin. I know you're all about that life. It is setting up, I think, quite well. SER, it's not rocketing up. I don't think it's ready to go yet. The volume quite isn't there. SER, another small cap gapper that's up about 73% on the day, but it's setting up in that curling effect. It's got to take out prior area high, which I've earmarked at about 2.25. So nothing for me to do quite yet on ACXP or SER.
All right, so DeLeon just mentioned this to me, and I think this might be, it must have opened up only a couple of days ago, VCX. What is this fund, Rise Innovation Fund? I'm not familiar with this, but it's not tradable, right? Like if you look at this, there's no liquidity here. So for me to look at it, even on the 1 minute, you go even to the 10 minute, there's just nothing that you can really do. And there's probably multiple halts here in this occasion, going from $40 to $91. Right? Like that's a big time move, guys. So just be cautious with this one. Thanks for pointing it out though, obviously, but interesting stuff. But the liquidity just makes it not tradable in my opinion. Yeah, fund IPO. Thanks, Daily. I'm 4747. Much appreciated on that one. Here goes USO, guys, slowly starting to get that curl over. Market not doing anything. We have Rivian heading back towards the lows and Alibaba just trading alongside VWAP. So a quiet session, if you ask me. How has Tesla been up to? My default here, essentially. We were looking at it here and think we're going to chop around within this range, but that hasn't been the case. We are heading back towards the lower end of the support level, and those higher lows can be breached at this point. It's just really difficult. Like you have a pull down, pull back up, and you want to catch the top end of the range. If you're buying or selling in the middle, you're just going to end up getting chopped up, and you don't want these whoppy markets continuously frustrating you. I like this short here potentially in USO. What do you got going? Oh,
nothing. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Let me just,
What is that, SER?
Yeah. Oh. I missed it. I was trying to focus on the other one, but
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all right. You'll hit another opportunity. So guys, I mean, I'm not going to force anything. The market, I think at some point will find a direction. It might take until 2 o'clock, right? 1:30, 2 o'clock, in order for larger participants to step in and decide which direction they want to send the market. With that being said, be patient, sit on your hands. There was a couple earnings reports that our earnings names that we were looking at earlier in the day. That's RCAT. I just think it's too difficult for it to continue its selling. We'll pull up RCAT here, and it's starting to find a rebound. 5-minute time frame, nice little bounce, forming these higher lows, but there's a resistance zone. So watch out for the ebb and flow in this one as well, too.
Sorry, just give me a sec, Joey. I set up on this one. I have to throw in my stops and my profit takers.
So essentially, there goes Tesla, right? You're now breaking through. Let's see if it's going to break, guys. And what you want is that volume to really start to uptick, and that hasn't been the narrative right now. It's a condor day, but don't short oil. No, I mean, I love you too, Scott Tomlinson, but there's opportunities, right? You can make money both ways. To say not going one way and the other, like I understand what you're getting at, especially after what we just experienced. The logical thing would to not be shorted, but we already know Los Polios put on a good trade at and around those highs. You just have to be cautious, make sure your risk is defined, and then take that opportunity if you see it. Because clearly there has been a short opportunity. When you were up over 2% on that volatility spike, and now you've given back the majority of that move, to say we can't short it, I just don't think is the right thing. And do you want to go right now? Absolutely not. Wait till you get to the higher end of the range, and then you can wait, and then sure enough, if it breaks through, you just get out. It's been extremely hot as of late, and I understand that. If you want to make a life a little bit more simple, then you would avoid it at all costs. But I think just with the volatility stepping in and what we experienced in the tariff tantrum is, hey, there's ways we can take advantage of this volatility. And we just tapped into a new all-time high at 124.91, especially on that volatility spike here in USO. So, I mean, it is curling over. Market isn't doing anything. What has silver been up to? And I mean, this name has not been in play for quite some time. You break through that support level, gap down to 60 smackers, and then now you're starting to climb back up. This was a big time run, guys, and it was a lot of fun trading. But this, if you ask me, we had that volatility increase, and then sure enough, it hasn't really done too much and been trading within about a 10, 15 point range. All right, overthinking bear, what's going on? Netflix breaking below 93 got me feeling a little yippy. Think it's time to short, unload some unload some shares? I think a big financial burden has been lifted off of this name. I was comparing it to what we had with the antitrust with Google. I think that is going to be just fine, in my opinion. I still like Netflix, second largest streaming giant on the planet next to YouTube, and what they have in the pipeline, I like a lot too, so.
All right, yeah. I wouldn't touch Netflix. That's just my own personal thing. But I think it's probably a good investment for other people. All right, so I'm involved here in ACXP. I'm not going to give this that much room because it looks like it's continuing to put in some lower highs. I want to focus on SER. I got out of SER because a bit better. If it can come back in, maybe test the $0.25, I'll definitely be involved with that one. But it is kind of showing me that it is finding some support at that 30 penny area. So we just opened up a new 5-minute candle here, the low of which is 31. So we know there's a buyer stepping in at around the low 30s that the sellers can't shake at the moment. So that is kind of my thinking. Nope, down it goes into, here comes. I want to see if it can make it back into 25, 26, because that's the breakout level. Showing 32 still, so the buyer stepping in again, and this is looking real good. So now we have a new bar low, 228, right? And we know the buyers were stepping in quite aggressively there. So let's see what we can do here. Can we kind of use current bar low as our out? That's kind of the situation where I am debating. Yeah, I don't have an answer here. And I do see the super chats, guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to concentrate on the trading for the moment. Can't do everything at one time. So have to focus on SER and ACXP. ACXP just popped off again, but it's coming back down. So this one really not showing its intentions, at least for the moment, to hold 7. That is a concern for me. So I'm going to focus here on SER. I feel like this one has a bit more room to the upside. So we're going to take it here. Let's go current bar low. Current bar low is 28. So we'll set up at 227. And kind of we'll see what we get there. Maybe we can take another move above prior bar. Prior bar is 42. didn't really spend all that much time there. So let's see if we can clear through 40 first. All right, going to get stopped out. I got stopped out, sadly, of ACXP as this one lost trend. It's coming in back into the 10 EMA on the 5. Let's see if it finds support at that 6 mid-80s level. That was the breakout level. I'll get back in if it gets above 7, but for now, going to steer clear of that. Continuing to watch SCR, holding current bar low, but not exactly finding the type of volume that we need to push it back into the high 30s, low 40s, where we've been on the day.
We're getting some mic issues here, Sharif. Something happened there, so I don't know what's going on.
I don't know,
How's
brother.
your battery looking over there?
It's looking good, man.
All right.
All right,
So
I got to concentrate here. So,
Here, I'll go here. I don't know. I'm just going by what the chat is saying. Yeah, guys, can you hear me? Just let me know. Why would you buy? Okay, anyways, aside from that, Jay Lee, no sound issues here, says Alan. Okay, so let us know, guys, if you're having any issues with that. Sound is fine. Muted, somebody is saying no audio, your audio, no sound. We'll go over the super chats. If you can hear me,
that's what
okay,
I'm
no problem.
about.
Put those ones there in the chat. Sounds fine. He's good. He's good. He's good. All right, maybe just do a refresh if you can't hear me. I'll just say this: refresh, no sound.
That's what I'm talking about. There goes SER into the high of the day, 267. Please refresh your stream, guys. But SER, nice re-entry here. I didn't like what I saw initially, got right back in, and we were rewarded 267, up 98% now. Looking to go more. Seller at 55. We've wet the beak here at 52. Looking for a bigger move up. Waiting in the high 50s. There it is, into the high 50s. Now we set up at 69. Let's go. All right, very happy with this trade here. Let's set up a little bit higher. Now, coming back into 50 we go. Better believe anything against me here. Stop out, so let's go ahead and throw that in now so that we needn't concern ourselves with the stop. But good breakout here on SER. I sniffed this one. Shut it to Bovin. Bovin, good call out by you, brother. But, you know, I was unsure whether this was going to be the A+ setup because of how these downtrend breaks have been trading lately. I complained that there's days where there's continuity and there are the days when there isn't. And it's really tough for me to know whether this one's going to continue or not, which is why I didn't take it into the 20s. But there it is. Nice breakout. Pumped about that. Let's see if it can get up a little bit more. We're setting up at 69er now. 69er requires a high day break because the high of the day is 67. So now we can rest a little bit easier and I can go back and look at all the supers. Oh my days, we have a bunch of supers. Oh my days, Casey 520 frickin' 6 dropping 20 membies in the chat. She's always doing it live, bro. All right, Anthony Warner, you got one, baby. How about Paulo? Abnormity, Jim, Vim, V Massive. We got Diego Perez, Trader Mike, Emmanuel Rios, IRL Cora, Pete Plus, Elvis Profits. I love these names, by the way, man. Old Ford Man. We got Gorev Sony. All of you guys. You guys got all a free membership vis-a-vis KC 520 frickin' 6, who's cashing out $3,000 on the VCX trade. She was all over that. I saw it. Let's pull up VCX, which is an IPO on the day. What is this trade on? New York? There it is. Big move up. I was watching this one, Case, as you were talking about it. Up 184%, halted again to the upside at $88.79. Great trade, Case. I know that that's your life. This thing's only done 55,000 shares. You got guts of steel, Casey. Shout out to you. We got OG Wisdom drop in 729. I don't know what those are. Durhams? Something AED, I think. BTC dabbling 69,000. Could we see 66 soon? Let's have a look. See what the coin is up to. Let's move over here, though, so I can keep an eye on my trade. SER, we're still holding some here, guys. Let's see what the coin is up to. Show yourself, coin. All right, let's flip to the hourly. See what we get. I hate how, you notice how on IB it shows like currency and BTC is these weird candles. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know if that's with, because you're using the regular charts.
Your favorite charts, Joey. Could we see 66? So 66 takes us to where, Joey? Right here. So we do have support at 66. I would be hoping that we put in a higher low, because that's what we've been doing. OG Wisdom. take a look at this. Area low, higher low. That's a wick. That doesn't count. Higher low, higher low. So I would think, you know, we probably bounce maybe 66.5. It's possible. It is possible. So let me know what you're thinking it is on that. But there goes Joey. SER again into 63. Here comes 64. We're waiting for 69. 65 showing up. We're waiting for the high of the daybreak. All right. There's 67. There's 68. No. Go to 69. We'll take it out here. We'll leave a piece. We're going to go to 77s now. And we have to go to SIA.
Yeah, quick news on Meta here, down 1.56% after Bloomberg reports that Meta plans to cut back on third-party content moderators over the next few years as it expands use of AI tools. And it says that they're better at spotting scams, celebrity impersonators, and some other rule-breaking content. And Meta is still planning to keep human reviewers for appeals and higher-risk decisions. That's all. Back to the guys.
Thank you very much.
Good stuff.
How's it going there, Joey?
Where's my boy? I seen him out here. He did my favorite. He did my favorite thing there, emoji. Oh, what a move down. All right, but he went like this, guys.
Who is it, Joey?
Jason Malrory. Probably been saying that one wrong.
Oh,
there we go.
It's dangerous right there.
There we go. They hit that Rivian off that lows, baby.
Oh, that's a big boy trade. There you go. There you go. Good job. Oh, you're telling him to hush?
No, I'm just saying.
No.
He's saying he did my favorite emoji there. He put that in there. So I'm just saying he's a silent assassin. There we go. Everybody throw the up one time for everyone. Yeah, there it goes, guys. Rivian up 3%. A nice bounce off it. I was waiting for this one. Guys, you haven't seen me take anything up until now. I don't even know how much I ever moved off of this, to be honest with you.
Good call, Bubin.
We'll V8 life, yeah. Oh, I got a story, but there we go. Midwest Cannabis, my boy. Toss him up. But no, in all seriousness, guys, a nice little move. Let's see if we can break through this. We did have that momentum punch through that $16 mark, which I thought was going to be a... everybody's doing it now, Sharif. Throw up.
Hey.
That's what we're talking about.
I like that one.
But yeah, that's a good one.
Of course.
That's a good one.
Especially when you're dunking on haters. That one is the best.
That's the thing, right? Like,
Dunk
so, like, say when people are just like, they're throwing it in your face like you're playing a video game or something like that. Nothing is more annoying than being right? Like, it's just like, all right, fisticuffs time. Yeah, fisticuffs time, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, that was really, salt in the wound there. But no, in all seriousness, guys, a nice little move, break of the $16 mark on RIVN. We pop into 1606. We take a little bit more off. I want to hold the majority of this move to see if we can head into the teens here. It was a nice pop. I have a good risk to reward ratio, and I'm pretty prepared to hop right back in. Everybody getting involved in with that. I love seeing it. But we have AED 3699 AED.
What is that? I'm going to find out right now, Joe.
We'll figure out right now. Holding a short.
What is that, Ram?
Yeah, I thought it was
Dubai.
So that's a good super chat right there.
UAE,
they're all really good. Holding a short from 75K, ascending channel and big buys at 66K. Love from Dubai. Habibi. Come to Dubai. You guys give us energy every day. That's all we try to do, my friend.
They love crypto. They love.
It's all.
They like money in Dubai.
Well, I would think so.
They like their money out there.
I'm pretty sure a lot of places like money.
But I think there might be a little extra gun ho in Dubai.
They got some extra going over there.
Yes, Ram. Pardon me? No way, Ram. I haven't even watched season 2, Ram. I know. Ram,
you're watching this out of all shows. You're watching Dubai Blink.
Can I say why?
Yeah.
When I had time before the insanity started.
Okay.
I watched season 1. So I feel like I've got a bit of foundation there, and I feel compelled to find out what happened.
So why don't you just tell us why you started watching Dubai Blink season
1? To be honest with you, because I just thought it was interesting. It's about Dubai, and that's really the only reason. There's nobody that I like on there that you're trying to insinuate. Look at this guy. This is like a bobblehead over here. Like this guy, I love it, man. Who is Ram says terrible trades? Assassino. Let's take care of that. Let's show him exactly who Ram is. Oh, it's coming in.
We can't. It's not possible.
It's not possible.
That's crazy. It is not possible.
Well, yeah, that's Brendo on the left there. He's kind of blocking the way there. Behind him is Ram.
If somebody listen, she's like, Have you ever watched that movie? See, if you watch Dubai Bling and you say no to this, we have to end the stream.
Bro, am I not allowed to have discretion?
Do you know, have you watched the movie V for Vendetta?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right.
It's been a minute, though.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a hot minute. It's an old movie. It's like 25 years old, something like that. Yeah. I've watched V for Vendetta.
Yeah, I mean, a little low-key person.
It's not possible,
we're gonna keep it like
she's an
that.
enigma.
Let's go Dubai. I was gonna say let's go Dubai. Let's go Rivian here and see if we can get an additional breakup.
Right.
We're looking for that
Get back
move
to work here.
north of these. Pardon me.
Let's get back to work.
Yeah, let's get right back to work, man. We can flick that switch real quick. We're on, we're off, we're right back on here.
I see it, guys.
We're heading to 1602. If we can punch through VWAP, I think we can find somewhat of a recovery here. But first things first, we need to break through this resistance zone at 1610. And if that isn't the case, then maybe we get a little bit more of an aggressive pullback. Downtrend from an intraday standpoint is most definitely intact, but I believe that buyers can potentially step back in.
Ram, the people want to know who's behind the name. Too bad? You don't want to come over behind us over here? You know, just give your fans a wave. Let them know you care about them, that you're emotionally invested in the show. Come over, Ram.
Whoa, look at the chocolate. That's crazy.
I know. She's not even budging. That chair's not even moving.
No, she's not going
All right,
anywhere.
I tried, guys. She says, nah.
Whose chocolate bar? Is that your chocolate bar in the fridge, Ram?
It was.
Did you eat that?
No, she ate it. It's gone.
All right.
She had it yesterday, I could tell. I looked for it this morning. Wasn't there.
Why, were you going to take it?
Did you see the treats that they put?
No.
There's like these puffs with like cream inside them. Are they good, Sia? They're good, she says.
Nobody
Okay, so we're going to have to try
we don't
one.
got
She
time for
ate
that,
some
my boy.
already. I love it. Get it, Ram. All right, guys, here's the deal. I'm missing out on LIDAR. Shout out to Bovin. Bovin's been talking about this one for a while. Shout out to Cool Brioche. He was mentioning this to me multiple times. LIDR, not a big, but a healthy 24%. And this one, look, it's I don't want to say it's a buy program, but it's pretty clean. You're getting very little in the way of bamboozlement. Let's put this on the black chart so we can all see it a little bit better and flip to the 5. We're on the hourly here, which is not what we want. Actually, let me go back to the hourly so I can just spot that area of resistance. Okay, so we're at 231 right now. Back on the 16th, we did get up to 250. So let's throw in some trend lines or some horizontal lines here to earmark some of these levels. So we're going to say 250, of course, which is kind of, par for the course with these ones, but it looks like all the closing prints, guys, on the hourly reject 235. So right around that 2 1/3. So that's going to be an interesting level to, if we can clear it, at least on the hourly. It's going to take obviously another 10 minutes to see if we can do that because 1250 right now. Let's flip to the 5. This is what it looks like on the 5. And you can see it's been quite respectful of the 10 EMA. Yes, on the 5. Let me throw in the ticker. I do apologize for those who don't see the top left there. I know it's very small. So LIDR, the only time that it breached the 10 EMA on the 5 was the double breach there at 1140, 1145. Then it goes along its merry way into the high. Currently, 225 is the 10 EMA on the 5. But what I would say is this one shows you very little in the way of bamboozlement by breaching prior bar low. So if that's the case, my first, thought here is to try to get in with, maybe towards the low of the prior candle and then giving it to, maybe a couple of pennies below prior bar low just to give yourself a little bit of room. But LIDR, a great one there. I'd probably be a buyer at about 225. But I want to go back to SER because SER is finding a lot of support here at the $0.50. So this current bar on SER has a low 47. Prior bar is 46. We're showing 49. So we're holding right around the $0.50. Now, if you were to get in here, you don't have to risk that much to prior bar. As I mentioned, it's only a couple of shekels. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take very, very limited size, given that this is coming off a little bit, and we're in at 51. We'll stop out at 46. So if it loses prior bar, I'm out. But let me throw in some profit takers right around that 59 penny area, and then we'll go 69 penny area. It doesn't look like it's ready to rock it up quite yet, if at all. I'm gonna give it to prior bar low. Stops me out through that. I'm Gonzino on very, very relatively small size relative to the original position. So that's a look there. And I also want to mention DLTH has been fantastic, and I've said very little about that. on the NQ, I believe. Yes, DLTH, look at this thing, rocket up, man. Into 304, that's the high. It's up 38, 39%. I just got stopped out. Yes, I did get stopped out there of SER, so we'll give back a little bit, but we'll still very positive on it. So it didn't hold the $0.50. That's fine. I want to take that risk. But DLTH, great look there into 304. Let's see if it can clear 3 on a closing basis. Right now, it's really not. It's zigging and zagging. And then last but not least, before we go back to Joey Opsh, again, I've said very little about this, but VET, this has looked fantastic. Now you're getting that rejection into 1469, coming back down into the 20 EMA. Let's see if the deep retracement holds up at the 20. I could be a buyer here and risk very little. This has been a clean move, up about 14%. Not a bad look. Cool Brioche, LNZA might be a bit late short. I didn't have an opportunity to look at that Cool Brioche. I know you've been talking about that a lot, LNZA. Yeah, this was, oh, that's why. It was light on volume. I did look at this initially. I do apologize. 33.50. Now it's coming back down now to 27 and change. I just didn't like it, brother, because the volume there, like 9,700 shares and on that candle, 4,700 on that one, 4,300 on this. So it's not exactly a volume king. So that's kind of why I stayed away from that one. But thank you for pointing it out. Shout out to Cool Brioche, Joey.
All right, man. Yeah, we're just chilling here. We're probably going to get stopped out, break even on this RIVN trade. We didn't take too much off, but that's all right. Not too worried about it. Only a couple more pennies. Look at the downtrend now. And I'm thinking here with the overall market is we pop up, we put a new high, fail to put in a new high, fail. So one more retest, and I'm thinking short here. And I just don't believe that we're going to break up. I'm not getting that vibe with multiple failed attempts to the top side, right? So we'll be patient. All right, let's get out break even here on this RIVN trade. Downtrend still fully intact. If there's any more indecision prints, like we close as a hammer here, then let's re-engage, right? Like we didn't get the most precise entry, but that's okay. We'll take a couple pennies higher. I just believe that this market is going to fade a little bit. I want to try to catch the top end of this range instead of trying to sell the support system without the momentum really starting to uptick there, right? We want to participate, not anticipate sometimes. When we try the anticipation thing and you get in at some good places where you can really increase your risk to reward, which I think is important, instead of trying to jump the gun. Because every time it runs into that support level, it just bounces right off of it, right? It's like a trampoline. But eventually, you never know. It's like that elastic band effect that I talk about on the volume weighted average price. Eventually, that elastic band can snap. Biggest story of the day, earnings, oil, energy, geopolitical, AI tech. I think it's between these two here. I think AI hasn't been really doing anything. Sharif, would you vote geopolitical?
I put geopolitical.
You put geo? Okay,
yeah.
Good stuff. Earnings. I mean, we're talking about Rivian here. Or no, sorry, not Rivian, but Micron and the Red Cats, Alibaba. Nobody really cares about that right now, man. We care about what's going on. Well, obviously we do, just being sarcastic. I just don't feel like the street or it's impactful or as impactful in the overall market. So oil dropping, yes. Oil's moving lower now south of our entry price here on RIVN. Market putting in a hammer candle right at VWAP, starting to form that wedge. Let's just do our basic due diligence here, draw our trend lines, draw our support and resistance zones, and then look for that potential entry, right? So consistent higher, lower highs here, guys. Not too good of a look, but as long as we continue to compress here, form that wedge top end, if it breaks through that way, adios, amigos, right? Adios. If it cracks through the support and you really see an uptick in the volume, then maybe you can start rocking and rolling with the shorts. It's definitely been a more difficult sideways session. I know someone earlier in the day is like, how can you say the market's not doing anything? My account's down 4%. Well, what are you holding, right? A lot of the action was in the pre-market. If you look at it from an intraday standpoint, we've only been $600 all the way to is that correct? Or $660 all the way to $555. So a $4 range in the SPY, right? And then you like a 5-point range here in the triple Qs. So nothing crazy. And then there's the only direction we've been going essentially is eastward, right? We can classify that as a trend, but you have to learn how to navigate that. Otherwise, it's going to make things more difficult, or you just avoid it at any cost.
I'm getting reports. President Trump just reposted something, said that 6 different nations are going to help secure the strait. We'll have to wait and see if that European allies, Japan announces readiness to assist with the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. JustTheNews.com posting that, and then President Trump retruthing it. We'll keep an eye out on that. I didn't quite see anything in my blotter yet. Let me just have a quick look at the news blotter. Anything there? Maybe it's old. Maybe that's why it took a while to show up. But I wanted to mention a couple of things. Shout out to Sir Films a Lot. I like that. Sir Films a Lot. So he's asking about the IPO that KC 526 has been printing up storms on over here, VCX. His question was, Sharif Joe, can you help me understand how to acquire my shares from an IPO? So there's a couple of ways. The first one is the most simplest one, which is right now. This is trading VCX on the NY. It's up 220%. You can just punch in and buy right now, okay? That's one way to do it. The other way is to try to get in earlier, right? And that usually is not open to everybody. That's before it starts trading on the public markets, in this case on the New York Stock Exchange. You have to get in through an investment bank. However, there are now moves by some of the brokerages, like I believe Robinhood, that's trying to get you in at the investor level, at the institutional level, before it's trading in the public markets, to try to get shares that way. I believe Robinhood said that they were trying to get shares for their users, for their clients or whatever. For the SpaceX IPO, was there one as well, maybe for OpenAI? Fact check me, Chad. I'm pretty sure it was Robinhood, and I'm pretty sure it was for those companies, but I could be wrong. Just fact check me on that. He says, I own. So what do you mean, brother? So then what are you trying to do? Can you help me understand how to acquire my shares from an IPO? Tag me again, Sir Films a Lot. Explain your question in a bit more detail. For now, though, we have to go to C at the big desk.
Just a quick update here. Multiple sources stating that Iran has fired fresh missiles at Israel just a couple minutes ago.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Sia. All right, continuing to watch here. I'm kind of interested in getting back into SER. I'm waiting for a breach of prior bar high. I'm looking for a setup here. It held prior area support quite well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. If this can breach prior bar high, maybe into 54, 55, we're going to get involved, and we're going to give it to prior bar low. Here's 53. Prior bar low is 43. Showing 53 now. Let's see if there's continuity on this one, or whether it wants to end up here. So it breached prior bar. Let's see if this one wants to take it out. Joey, I got to send it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see what, I know, I see what you're saying, Katie. Damster, I think that's the narrative. This is going to go on a lot longer than what we anticipate. They're going to use all their resources, but it's just going to be one of those prolonged things. It's just like missile strike here and there. I mean, I don't think that they have any intentions of giving up anytime soon until obviously they use up all their resources. Then they'll just do whatever they have to. I read, I don't know if it's true or not, but it looks like Iran might be receiving, again, I have to double check this. I read it on an article yesterday that China and Russia might be supplying, even though Russia's completely tied up right now, Iran with some military, whatever you would like to call it. Now, moving forward, guys, let's take a look at Netflix. It didn't continue its trend here. I know we were talking about this. Look at this intraday chart, just absolutely horrendous. You did have a 20% bump, right? But now you're starting to come back in. Downtrend is broken. The chances are at this pace, you're going to get this gap fill, all right? So keep an eye out on that one. We'll run through our list once again. How's CrowdStrike been? Coming right back into the lower end of the range. It's definitely been a weaker one here in the overall market. I'm thinking about taking a potential short here on the Nasdaq for that breakdown, but that might not come in until later. There's big, oh, whoa, okay. Let's take a couple steps back here, guys. A big volatility spike here on RIVN. Curious to see if any any catalyst stepped in there, guys. But look at this, a massive on the 1 minute time frame volume spike, and even on the 5 minute. That's going to be the largest we've seen since this morning, and there's still time to print on this candle. So let's keep an eye on RIVN just in case there's somewhat of a bottom here. We'll pull something up. We'll see if we can find anything along those lines that would be correlating and why we're starting to see that massive volatility spike. I'll take a look right now to see if there's anything RIVN on Rivian.
Yeah.
That
was from this morning. Good call.
That was this morning. Thank you for that one there.
Sorry, I wasn't concentrating, Joe. I was trying to trade. So remember you and I talked about how Uber is not really investing the kind of capex that the Teslas are, the Waymos are, and all these other robo-taxi operators. They're trying to make themselves a marketplace for AVs, autonomous vehicles, right? Yeah, they did throw a billy. What's it called? Rivian's way, right? But that's a billy over 5 years, and it's about, I think, $300 million. We're going to get to it on the news up front. Not that much for a big company like Uber, right? No. And especially when you look at the kind of capex that some of the hyperscalers are spending, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. What's a billy over 5 years? What, $1.5 billion, I think, whatever it is. So I do like that kind of approach that Uber's taking.
That Uber's taking? Yeah, I like it too. I like it for multiple reasons. Why? Because it's something that we would thought be a little bit more disruptive, considering what we have going on with Waymo and the Robotaxi. But they're getting involved in this, which I think can help grow the platform as well too. Considering they already have that massive customer base, you just have people who want to put their EVs on, and they're just essentially acting as a middleman. Here, you can use our platform. You use your vehicles. We collect a little bit of the share, and it's a high margin situation for them.
Absolutely, I do like it. I think it's the right move, especially if you're looking to protect capital. And quite frankly, I don't think that they have the capital or really the technical ability to compete with the Waymos and the Teslas. Tesla's been doing this for like a decade, almost and a half now, man, since Autopilot came out, I think. I forget. What was it, 13, 14, 15, something like that when they came out on the Model S and the Model X. I remember they've had Autopilot for a while, but all those miles that were driven on Autopilot and then later, of course, FSD, all that's data collection that Tesla's using to kind of curate and to make FSD the way it is.
Right now, dude.
Rivian?
Yeah, look at it. Look at that. Look at the screen.
It's going to go red on the day.
Look at that.
It's half a quarter of a percent.
Look at the momentum and the volume really starting to pick up there. It's really tanking. I just got a price spike notification there, Sharif. So nothing crazy, but I mean, hey, maybe there's something else along the lines. Could be a massively aggressive seller, but that's a lot of volume stepping in that short time frame. So we'll keep our eyes out on this one just in case there is something along the lines that, from a catalyst standpoint, because that's a big time move, right? You're now giving back the majority of what we got through here in the pre-market. So you have that news, and then now we're heading right back towards where the spike started. I mean, that's going to be around $15.40. So that's a lot of volume, and this is going to be the second largest volume print so far. So there's definitely something going on. Also, look at the overall market heading right towards the key support level. You knock right on that trend line and starting to head a little bit south there. So keep an eye on what Rivian is up to.
All right, sorry, Sir Films a lot. I got a little distracted, brother. Thank you for explaining. So Sir Films a lot says he's actually transferring from his fund rise to his brokerage. He was actually an early adopter. I'm assuming you're talking about the shares that you picked up in VCX. I've never actually been able to do that. I've never been involved with an IPO at the institutional level, so I don't have any experience transferring it from that into my brokerage. You're probably, I don't know, maybe somebody in the chat can help you there. Also an LLM, perhaps speak to your brokerage and they'll give you instructions. I've never done it, so I don't want to speak and misspeak and give you the wrong information. But thank you for the question, and sorry I could not help. Shout out to Sir Films a lot. Now, a couple of things. I got in here on SER. It did a topping tail candle, and it didn't look like it was quite ready to go, but I think it's holding the same area here. So I'm gonna get involved again. I'm gonna go lesser shares, and we're gonna give it again to that prior area low. So let's go into 241, and we're gonna give it basically to 38. There we go.
All right,
let's see if this one can.
This might be it, something along those lines. Rivian no longer expects to be adjusted EBITDA positive in 2027.
Yeah.
All right, so there it is.
Yeah, that's kind of big. So here it is, in a regular, let's read it out for everybody. Let me bring it in, and let me close this, and I'll just be able to do it here. So Rivian, Katina, man, you got to see Rivian now.
No.
It's not what you thought. In a regulatory filing earlier, Rivian noted that the company no longer expects to be adjusted EBITDA positive in 27 due to an unexpected increase in R&D spend associated with the acceleration of its autonomy roadmap. Yeah, so R&D. As previously reported this morning, Rivian and Uber announced a partnership to help accelerate both companies' autonomous vehicle plans. They expect to deploy 10,000 fully autonomous R2 robotaxis in the first phase of the R2 robotaxi deployment. Rivian Uber will invest $1.25 billion in Rivian through 2031, so 5 years, a little bit more, subject to the achievement of certain autonomous milestones by specific dates, building towards a scaled, fully autonomous fleet of Rivian R2 robotaxis, which will be available exclusively through the Uber platform. An initial $300 million investment has been committed for the following signing. What the hell does that mean? To following signing. Shout out to The Fly for putting out a very, very well-edited news item there. No, of course. All right, Joey.
Yeah.
What do you got there, brother?
I was just reading the exact same article that you brought to us here, Sharif. I got nothing going on. I mean, it is 1 o'clock. You're still trading. We could fire up the news.
I know, I'm an animal.
If you're ready at any time, at any time soon, can't stop, won't stop.
See, I don't like doing that anymore, even though I do like doing because of Diddy. You deleted all your Diddy songs? Yeah, can I say something to you?
What's up?
When he comes on, to both of you guys, when he comes on, I get a little bit cringe, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't like, I never was like.
I liked him.
You liked him back in the, I think
there was a lot of
Yeah.
P. Diddy and the Family. Remember?
No.
Mace,
G-Dep. But Mace is way better than
Yeah.
Mace,
I'm not saying
Mace
he's not.
Mace was actually a
He's
good
got the golden voice.
Mace was
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Puff drive Mercedes. Well, he drives other things too, but
I mean,
yeah. So yeah, get it, Neil. So there we are. We're holding here, guys. SER. I'm looking for this one to hold 245. Try to rock it back up. Scalp some on this. It's about 8 after 1. We're gonna start the news, the headlines really soon. Sia's on the big desk. She's Sia. Are we doing the news with you, or are you keeping your eyes on the news there?
Both today.
You're doing both? Amazing. Many talents. So we're gonna get Sia to start the news. Joey, you want to start with Sia there on the first one until I finish up the trade on here on SCR?
Yeah, we could do whatever.
Can do whatever.
Whatever you like.
I like it. All right, Sia, let's get it going.
Yeah, let's talk about Apple here. Apple negative 0.74% is gaining share and has recently seen iPhone sales in China jump 23% year over year in early 2026 alone. And the growth has come from, despite broader smartphone market decline, which is a negative 4% year over year. Strongest performance, however, driven by iPhone 17 lineup and targeted promotions, but Apple is currently also benefiting from discounts and government subsidies. And this could possibly mean affordability for Apple is on the rise.
Let's load this up over here. I'm done the trade. I guess I lost the window that had all the information. There it is. Good. Just one moment, guys. It's just setting up over here. All right. Let's load this up.
I want to bring this up here because I think it's really interesting, and I think. Sean was talking about this because we're going to get a little serious here. Sean was talking about this, and I think it was such a valid point in something along the lines is that we have some of these hyperscalers blowing through all this cash, spending billions and billions of dollars. And then I pull up this article right here. It says, well, while all these hyperscalers are essentially spending all this money, and I think this is how their plan. I don't know if they did this on purpose, Sharif, right? Considering the botch launch of Apple Intelligence with the iPhone 16. But what I'm reading here now is that these guys just nearly brought in $900 million, so almost $1 billion. So that's the inverse. These guys are actually making money off of these AI plays without having to spend anything. And I think that's such a, I don't know if it was intentional considering what we know.
I think it was.
You think so?
Absolutely. While everybody else was panicking and spending hundreds of billions of dollars on this company just sat on their hands.
Sat on their hands, and now they're bringing in billions of dollars, roughly.
We'll see, bro. I mean, it looks good, but you know, the fact that they don't control the technology is a bit of a wild card.
Very, very much. And you and I had the conversation regarding Gemini as well too. They're bringing Gemini and they're gonna integrate that into Siri. What was I just about to say? So yeah, essentially these guys are bringing
hangry wife.
Yeah, these guys are bringing in a lot of money now, and they haven't spent a fraction of what some of these other participants have.
I think for what the quarter they guided during the earnings report, $2.5 billion in capex for the quarter. You know what Meta's going to spend?
Yeah, they're spending. Yeah,
135 billion
exactly.
for the year,
so
not the
it's
quarter.
It's just like, hey, if we're looking at a couple of names that can potentially be that next big play, you have the company, the second largest company on the planet, breaking in and benefiting from this, just like NVDA is. So the two top players aren't spending the money; they're bringing it in from all the other individuals.
That's fair.
And let's say, I don't know. Do you think that you're saying a lot of the other names are hit the panic button? I think Apple did momentarily because they were talking about it like the iPhone 16 releases, like Apple Intelligence, Apple Intelligence. But then they took a breath. They were calm. They're like, hey, we're not ready for this. It's not exactly where it wants to be. And then they essentially dropped it with the release of the 17.
Well, I don't think that that's hitting the panic button, though. I think acknowledging that LLMs are going to continue to hallucinate. Again, my opinion on Apple Intelligence stays the same. Apple does not put out products like Google does that are unrefined. Google's willing to put their neck out there, and if the product is not perfect, that's fine. They're willing to build the user base and then perfect the product while it's out there being used. Apple takes a different approach. If it ain't perfect from day one, it's not getting released.
It's not getting
and so
released.
my issue has been they can't seem to fix, and anybody, it's not Apple, it's the entire industry, they can't fix hallucinations. These things, whatever the model is, they're all hallucinating. I'm using the most advanced ChatGPT model, and every morning I have to change stuff in the morning note because it gets the year wrong. It says former President Trump. It's not former President Trump. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is an industry problem, I think. It's not an Apple problem.
No, not at all. And I think something really positive is too is that they didn't release that by digging themselves, even though they were promoting Apple Intelligence, they didn't dig themselves a deeper hole by launching it and releasing it.
Well, it's just not their way,
It's not the way. But they did make a mistake by kind of promoting it throughout the 16.
100% agree.
Through that
100. I think that they thought they'd be able to get through technical challenges, and they weren't. So what I want to focus on today is the obvious change year over year in Chinese sales. What I really like is the fact that Apple's growing at 23% in China, while the overall smartphone market in China is down 4% year over year. I mean, that if you're bucking the trend in that way, that must say something. And it really all is down to the iPhone 17 lineup. People want a shiny new device that looks different than the one prior. Let's cut the crap, okay? And then moreover, the cheapest version of the 17 qualifies for some of the Chinese government subsidies that they give so people can buy new phones, right? So they can spur demand and stimulate the economy. And Apple did that on purpose. They purposely priced in the 17 their basic 17 so that it does fit within those price parameters. So I like what Apple's doing in that regard. Do I have concerns about the future? You bet I do, especially with the cost of RAM skyrocketing up and Apple's long-term agreements that they have with their suppliers, most notably Samsung, coming to an end, I believe, in August. That means August onwards, we're going to be talking about new market prices. But it's not all doom and gloom. Apple has ridiculous buying power, so they will be able to kind of force some of their suppliers to lower the prices, even though those prices are going to be higher than before. But it's going to be better than what, Joe Schmo pays for RAM. So it eats into margins. I get that. And you've seen that reflected in the price, right? We're like $30, $40 possibly off the all-time highs. And I think that probably has a lot to do with the eating of the margins because of RAM. Pause for a second. Let's go to Sia.
Yeah, quickly talking about a headline here. Ecolab is nearing a deal for KKR's data center cooling company, and Ecolab is set to pay between $4.5 billion to $5 billion, between $4.5 to $5 billion for the business, and currently KKR is down 1.62%.
Okay, Sia, let's go to the next story.
Absolutely, let's go to the next story. We're talking about Tesla. Tesla's CEO Elon Musk has indicated that the company can tape out its next-gen AI6 chip by December of this year. This tape-out will mark the final design stage before the manufacturing. And AI6 chips are expected to power Tesla's full self-driving systems, the FSD systems, and humanoid robots. And this is critical for scaling autonomy and robotics initiatives, which are both important long-term initiatives.
I like this a lot. I think that bringing chip design in-house definitely helps preserve margins, especially for something as important as your custom ASICs for FSD. The A16, apparently they're going to be able to bring it out sooner than expected, and they're crediting AI with allowing them to kind of accelerate the R&D phase, so you got to like that as well. What I do like, what I don't like about this is the CapEx that they're going to have to spend, if you believe Elon, that they want to build their own fabs, right? Their fabrication plants for these chips. Currently, they're going through Samsung for the majority of them, but they do have plans of vertically integrating. And if you know anything about Tesla's business model, the entire thing is almost vertically integrated, right? This is not going to be any different, but that does require CapEx, and that means in the short term, short to intermediate term, there's going to be margin compression because there's going to have to be money spent on R&D. So a little of this, a little of that. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I was just reading something on the AI5 actually chip. So apparently an analyst said, and I mean, we're talking kind of a grade lower, it's going to compete with Blackwell. It's that bar that's been set by NVDA that everyone wants to compete with. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. A massive deal struck here as well too. But I also read the fact that Tesla is still going to be, and SpaceX is still going to be purchasing NVDA's chips on mass scale. So it just tells you, even though the hyperscalers are looking to build their own custom chips, they're still leagues behind what NVDA is offering.
All right, shout out to the TikTok viewer. I do apologize. User 35 84 75 18 89 181. Bro, can you check swimmer? Chance to move up, or should I leave it here? Let's check out SWMR on the day. I don't know, man. TikTok gets really creative with the users there. SWMR. Shout out to all the viewers watching us on TikTok. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Look, SWMR is taking a bit of a day off today. I still like this as a swing. You got a clear area of support in the mid 40s at around 45, 46, with the ultimate low being that 44 area that we saw. It's on about a couple of day now lower high trend ever since we put in the all-time high. I mean, all-time, we've only been trading for 3 days. Yesterday, if you can get it back above 60, I'd love it. I don't know what your time frame is, user, if you're looking intraday or you're looking for a swing, but this one is really not giving up some of the levels. It's holding up quite well in a very weak market. It's down about 5% on the day, but this can flip the switch quickly, especially breaking above 55. 55 is yesterday's closing print on SWMR, and if it clears that, I think we could probably squeeze into maybe 59, 60. Good base here. It's putting in some higher lows locally ever since we put in the low at 11.15. So not a bad look on SWMR. Hope that helps. Just before we go to the next story, SER is rocketing. Okay, so it's taking out all the levels now. 283 high, holding at about 2 3/4. Great hold here of that former area of resistance. I'm talking about the 240 area. It holds it very clean as a base, as support. Rockets back up to 283. We could see $3 here momentarily, guys. SER up big on the day, 118%, and looking to do some more damage. What do we got next, Sia?
Next, we're talking about AMZN. Amazon has said that negotiations with the United States Postal Service, USPS, have collapsed as of December after USPS abruptly walked away. Amazon has claimed that it wanted to increase volumes and not reduce them, which contradicts their earlier reports. And as per reports, Amazon may cut USPS shipping volume by up to 2/3 when the contract expires as of this year in September. And USPS has historically been Amazon's largest delivery partner, so this could affect USPS revenue for sure, and they usually handled over 1.75 billion of Amazon's packages annually.
So my understanding is here, this relationship really does focus on the rural areas where the majority of Amazon's packages are still being delivered by USPS. But as Amazon has been doing lately, they've been investing bigly in the rural delivery capacity. I think $4 billion through this year, 2026, to expand that. So you kind of feel like they were hedging their bets against USPS, and they also continue to reduce reliance on third-party deliverers, right? That, what do they call that? They call it the last mile or something like that. forget the name.
That's what they're saying. That's what it's
What is
called.
it called?
The
Last mile
delivery.
Yeah, last mile delivery. Thank you, Joey, for that. So that does, that's obviously good because they're bringing everything in-house. When you bring everything in-house, margins expand. But my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, if you guys know any different, that the reliance here on USPS is mostly for rural. And if they're expanding their own reach there, Joey, then it's just a matter of time until they don't need the public carrier.
Yeah, I mean, you have to probably go that route, Sharif, if you're looking to have this. I know you're talking about rural, but if you're having that hour delivery, right? The 3 hour and stuff. I don't know how that's necessarily going to work, and you're going to be heavily reliant on a third party. But with the last mile delivery network is essentially amounting up to half the cost. So that could be something that they can eliminate and shore up and sure enough increase, and that's when you get that margin expansion, because that's pretty expensive if it's half the cost.
It is, and not that this matters to us because USPS is not traded publicly, but this could actually really hurt them. Apparently, it's going to be several $100 million contracts here that they're going to be without if the deal with Amazon ends. And apparently, if you believe Amazon's story, it was USPS who walked away, not them. Maybe Amazon was a little greedy or aggressive in the negotiations, but according to the report, again, not vouching for it, that Amazon said they walked away. So we'll see kind of how that all works out. But I got to tell you.
And let me say this about Amazon.
Oil's tanking, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's moving lower. Yeah, it's moving lower.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this about Amazon. We use multiple kind of examples on this. We had the Google antitrust. We had the Paramount Skydance war between Netflix and the latter there. I think until a really broad deal is done with China as to the tariffs, I think that's weighing on the stock a little bit as well too, because even though we love AWS, I think the e-commerce segment is still pretty important, and I think once that's resolved or they come to a conclusion, I think it can help climb the stock a little bit higher.
Fair. I don't disagree with that at all. Let's go. See ya.
Yes, oil is tanking right now, but we're also going to do a story that is related to oil here. Oil and gas prices have been surging after the Iranian strikes on key Middle East energy infrastructure, as I've been reporting on it all day today. Markets are rapidly repricing risk because the conflict is seen to be shifting from now not just political tension, but also to direct supply disruption. Gasoline futures have climbed to near 4-year highs, and Iranian strikes have caused extensive damage to Ras Laffan, which is the world's largest LNG supply facility located in Qatar, in Doha. And Qatar has already halted LNG production earlier in March due to prior attacks. By the way, Qatar does account for 20% of global LNG supply, which makes this disruption very highly market sensitive.
And this is well, who's surprised by this? But this is obviously an escalation of tensions until thus far, the oil and energy infrastructure hasn't been hit all that much. I realize it's been hit. Saudi Arabia got hit. There was a couple of other ones as well, I believe in Oman and some other places. I get all that. But for most of the attacks, we're really kind of avoiding this. This seems like it's an escalation, and one must wonder, right, what Israel and U.S. response is going to be. Now, if you believe President Trump truthed something, I think at 2 or 3 in the morning, basically accusing, he says Israel hit that Iranian oil field because of what's happening there. He didn't specify exactly what he meant by that. And as a result, Iran responded on the Qatar field, and now he's threatening the Iranian regime, saying, look, if you guys keep hitting the oil fields, we're going to hit yours. And, it's going to be basically, I think he says he doesn't want to do that because it's going to be hard for Iran to rebuild post this current administration. So that's President Trump's assertion that he's trying to avoid hitting all the energy infrastructure of Iran, so that when they do have new leadership, that it doesn't take them as long to rebuild. That's his position.
Yep.
We'll have to see, how long that holds up, because energy infrastructure is getting hit now.
But at this point, like, what do you expect from the country of Iran? They could just throw out all of kind of the ethics out the window and say, yeah, you know what, we're going to go after whatever, you guys can destroy whatever. We're going to go out on a limb there and just say, screw it. But I don't know. I think it's best for them to not to. I believe they might have that idea, because I think things would escalate. The worst case scenario here is boots on the ground. But if they continue to hit each other in these strikes, eventually things will cool down, in my opinion.
I really hope so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
do, bro. I mean, I really hope that you're right about that.
I mean,
I think, as I've said before, I don't think President Trump is a hawk or a tech bro. I think he's a pragmatist, and whatever is kind of move the needle for his objectives, he's going to do.
Yeah.
What that is, I think reasonable people can disagree. What do we got next to you?
I agree with you, Sharif. I have comments on that, but I will refrain. Precious metal sell-off. So gold and silver has dropped aggressively, with gold between 2 to 4% and silver down between 5 to 8%. So futures are seeing deeper losses than spot, which is indicating a leveraged unwind across the market. And the ongoing US-Iran conflict is driving energy prices spike, which basically is increasing inflation risk globally. And now, instead of acting as a safe haven, these metals are being sold alongside equities and bonds. So the thing is that US dollar is also contributing to this weakness, as metals are becoming more expensive globally. What do you have to say about this, guys?
Well, apparently some of the selling here is to raise cash. So they're selling their winners, which obviously gold and silver have had big runs. If you believe the reports, again, we don't really know what's in people's minds. Analysts suggest investors are selling their winners, i.e. gold and silver, to raise cash amid broader market stress. Leveraged funds as well are facing higher borrowing costs and trying to reduce their exposure across assets. So the highlight here is the key shift. Safe havens are no longer immune, during times of liquidity events. So whether or not silver and gold bounce off these levels, I think that probably the de-dollarization trade continues. Whether or not the de-dollarization trade continues past President Trump's presidency, I think, again, reasonable people can disagree, especially if there's a change in tariff policy and geopolitical policy that the current administration has. So we'll have to wait and see. But I wanted to mention, just before we get your opinion here, Joey, the Katina man is taking USO short, and it is absolutely bleeding to the low side. It just made a new low a day. We're still not at that pre-market low. I think we got to get to about 170.70, but you can see all the closing prints here, Joey, kind of defend that 118.5 area. So that's a great look. Lower high, lower high, lower high, flat bottom break. Good job, Katina, man. Good trade, brother. What do you think about this, Joey, metals?
Yeah, I agree with you, Sharif. I think at some point you're going to see some profit taking, regardless of what the scenario is. It just happened to be with the conflicts going on right now. I think we get back to right where we left off with potentially the de-dollarization, the hedge against the dollar. Maybe not necessarily in silver. We've seen that gold has been on a little bit longer of a run. But when you go on these moves, regardless of how hot the sector or whatever the commodity may be, eventually you'll have some form of profit taking. You have like a double there, essentially. In silver. Gold has been on a run for quite some time, so profit taking is understandable.
And oil just continues to make lower lows. So big USO, guys, now down almost 2 1/3, losing 119. What are we talking about next to you?
Next up, we're talking about Micron. Micron has delivered a huge earnings beat, which has signaled continued strength in the AI-driven memory cycle. EPS 12.20 versus the $9.31 expected. Revenue at $23.86 billion versus the $20.07 expected, which is a strong upside surprise. And revenue has nearly tripled year over year from $8.05 billion. So company guided a $33.5 billion revenue next quarter versus the $24.3 billion that was expected, which is again a massive upside here. And EPS guide $19.15 versus the $12.05 that was expected. Industry, however, is facing a tight DRAM and NAND supply, as we've known and have been seeing, particularly for AI-related memory. But there's also a shift in high bandwidth memory, HBM products, with higher margins. And gross margin has surged to 74.4%, which is versus this 36.8% year over year, which is again showing a massive expansion in MU here. And net income has jumped to $13.8 billion from $1.58 billion. Again, a big jump right here. Sharif, what do you think?
I think this is one of the most aggressive earnings beat that I can remember on memory. Maybe there are others that I'm forgetting, but this is ridiculous, whether you're looking at the current quarter or the guide. 12.20 EPS, 9.31 expected. Almost $24 billion in revenue, 20 expected. Revenue tripling year over year, guiding $33.5 billion. The street was looking for 24 1/3. These are insane numbers. $19.15 EPS, $19.15 EPS for the guide. 12.05 expected. What the hell is this? I mean, the market, how did they get it so wrong, right? The market knew that demand was through the roof for RAM, especially HBM, right, for the data centers. But how is this such a monster beat? How did the analysts all get it so low? So that's kind of the look there. But I think Neil mentioned something in the morning that I really want to stress here. Is this as good as it gets? In terms of, you know, the report really being a blowout earnings report, for the guide really being insane. Are we going to start seeing maybe some lower highs from this?
I mean, like when you have that exponential growth, obviously things will cool down. But like we have to refer to the only other name that was comparable, I think, is NVDA. Is that when you're going through the early 20s, essentially you just have that exponential growth. Can it be sustained? I mean, it's still growing at a 90% clip rate. You're still having an increase. He's guiding $500 billion. Now he's talking about $1 trillion. If the cost of memory remains high, then sure enough, you can see it. We know that some of these hyperscalers are already pricing it in. Like Apple worrying about it. It's already 12 to 15% of the cost of the iPhone, essentially.
Right.
So it can continue. And also this morning, you guys were talking about supply issues.
Supply.
The demand is there.
That's what I want to get to.
So the supply issues.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So now you brought up a really good point. Supply is definitely needed. The demand is there. There's no argument about that. So do we see some of this money now being funneled into CapEx to build out capacity so that you can meet that demand? If there's going to be CapEx, we saw exactly what happened to Rivian there. They want to spend on AV. Market slaps them because it's going to eat into margins, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is this as good as it gets?
It can, right?
Yeah.
And when we talk about the CapEx spending and potentially meeting demand, we also have to take into consideration how long it would take for that build out to meet the demand. And is the demand by the time that everything is ready going to still be there?
That's a great question.
So,
and that's a risk the company takes, right?
Exactly. So
I don't know.
I don't know. Only time will tell, right? Like you got to wait for some more quarters to come out. And through the reports, you can see if the demand is still there. It's tough to sustain that type of clip rate, but we've seen it happen through multiple quarters in different names. I mean, we can use Robinhood as a company, right? When you're going through these kind of growth cycles, then they can go on for multiple quarters.
All right, Sia, give us the news and let's go to the next story when you're ready.
Absolutely. I have a quick news here about U.S. Energy Secretary Wright saying Trump administration has no plan to implement restrictions on oil and gas exports. But we're also going to move on to our next story here. Baba has reported an earnings decline with net income falling 66% year over year. Not a good look. Revenue at 284.4 billion yuan versus the 290.7 billion yuan expected. This is versus the analyst estimates over here. And net income at 15.6 billion yuan versus 46.4 billion yuan year over year. Now the profit drop, which is driven by a 74% decline in operating income, is tied to aggressive reinvestment. Spending, however, has been focused on quick commerce expansion, user experience upgrades, and technology and AI infrastructure. Now, CEO Eddie Vu has emphasized that AI is a primary long-term growth engine, and it has indicated that Alibaba is pivoting towards AI and cloud monetization, similar to its peers in the US. And cloud revenue has reached 43.3 billion yuan, driven by public cloud and AI expansion and adoption. And Alibaba is investing tens of billions into AI and cloud infrastructure. It recently launched its new AI model series, expanding into agentic commerce. And the goal here is basically to develop a full stack AI and commerce ecosystem, not just an online marketplace.
Exactly what Joseph and I were talking about. The CapEx is going to hurt your operating income, as well as your margins, and that's exactly what we're seeing here with Alibaba. Profit dropped 74%. Profit drop driven by a 74% decline in operating income, tied to aggressive reinvestment. That spending is e-commerce expansion, user experience upgrades, and then the big one, Joey, technology and AI infrastructure. We know how much money that takes. So they're kind of shifting you know, that kind of growth to a growth first strategy at the expense, of course, of near-term profitability. But I think Eddie Wu's a smart guy. He's been running the company since, you know, Jack Ma left. And, you know, I don't think it's at its peak, obviously, certainly not at its peak in price. But I think that, you know, their best segment is cloud. And cloud is switching now to Neo Cloud. And Neo Cloud is basically offering AI. So if they don't invest, somebody else will, and they'll be left behind. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I think the thing that's driving them right now is definitely Quen. 300 million monthly active users. I think that's massive. What's really dragging them down right now is the e-commerce side of things, as everyone's trying to continuously undercut each other. We've seen that in the EV space in China as well, too. So I think they need to really focus in. We know that they're building data centers. I believe it was in Brazil, Sharif. South America, they're building some. They got built out there, and I don't know if they got anything. They got built out in Brazil.
Yes.
So I mean, they're spending where they need to spend. Now it's just really unfortunate that we've seen it in the EV space here. China is extremely competitive, and they're willing to go with a race to the bottom, and that's what's really hurting them is the e-commerce segment right now, and I think they need to really hyper-focus on Quen. And then what do they got? They're releasing their Claude version eventually soon as well.
They have like that Nemo Claude.
The Nemo Claude or Claw or whatever they would like to call it. So yeah, I mean, cool on the e-commerce. And I mean, are we gonna, like, do we think this is going to be a big-time shift? Like, do you think at some point online spending is going to come to a real, like a significant cool down? I don't know how you feel about that.
I think it's really, I don't think online is going to give way to in-store. I think where we may see weakness is weakness in the consumer. And you're already kind of seeing that a little bit there. You're seeing it in China.
In the lower-end consumer.
Certainly. The high-end consumer is clearly not hurting, as we can see by airlines, of course. But I
agree with you. I don't see the resurgence of brick and mortar, to be honest with you, right?
Maybe like for something.
Like a cyclical thing, like during like Christmas times and all that garbage.
I think the moving hen's written here.
But to be honest with you, I think it's such a smart business model to kind of get rid of that or sway away from the brick and mortar and have these, like, the companies that are building 60 or 70 stores in 2026 through 27 and just kind of focus on that e-commerce side of things.
It's CapEx heavy. Guys, continuing to watch USO. It's down 1 3/4. We're going to report if there's anything new, of course. We will let you know. U.S. Energy Secretary Wright, the U.S. has no plan to implement restrictions on oil exports, he wrote on a post on X, and many other things. So Sia will keep us updated, as will I. And let's go up to Sia for the next story.
Next, we're talking about Five. Five Below has delivered a strong quarterly result and is benefiting from the heavy holiday traffic and demand for low-priced goods. So CEO Vinnie Park has also highlighted a broad strength across certain income groups. The company has emphasized its ability to deliver compelling value across multiple price points, not just its well-known $5 range. Now, adjusted EPS at $4.31 versus the $4 that was expected, showing a rather solid upside here, and revenue at $1.73 billion versus the $1.71 billion that was expected, modest beat. And same-store sales have risen 15%, which are indicating strong organic demand and traffic, and net income has increased to $238.2 million versus $187.5 million year over year. This is showing a certain improved profitability here. And the company has also opened 14 new stores during the quarter, and it has ended with 1,921 new total locations. The store count is now up 8.5% year over year, with new locations definitely performing well. And this expansion is definitely a key driver for long-term revenue growth.
Yeah, so I definitely agree there with you, Sia. I like the fact that they're expanding beyond the $5 kind of limit. That expands the TAM, the total addressable market. You got to like that. And according to the company, $10 is that kind of the sweet spot. And they're calling it the competitive sweet spot versus their peers. I also like the fact that management is taking a flexible approach to pricing, right? Again, because, you know, you don't want your margins to be constrained if you have that $5 cap and a product, you know, kind of fits within that narrative, you need to have the pricing power to be able to hold on to margins. So I like that. What I don't like is the company's focus on Gen Alpha, Gen Z. Well, millennials have money now, but Gen Alpha, Gen Z, they're still, you know, early in their life. They probably don't have all the buying power as the Gen X's, the millennials, the boomers, obviously. So that kind of hurts a little bit in terms of your customers' buying power, but that seems to be the remote from the get-go. It probably didn't really change much for them. They're also saying their marketing strategy is centered on affordability and trend-driven merchandise. You got to like that, of course, with the consumer really being squeezed. Value is where you're going to be looking. You, Joseph, and I, we all often talk about how good the dollar stores are doing in this country because people are really looking to kind of, you know, shore up costs.
And you, yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you can get the same product, it's not for everything, like certain things. If you can just go to a cheaper alternative, I think the consumer is doing that, the lower end consumer, that is. I'll stick by, like, it's typically, and I think a lot of people can agree with this, is the higher end consumer that continuously drives things, but then when the lower end starts to participate, unfortunately get into the debt markets, when you can see the retail spaces and some of these other names really start to climb. But my issue here, and I didn't see anything along those lines, Sharif, and I know Dollarama was doing this, is they're really starting to expand, right? Like you're getting multiple Dollaramas, like in a couple of blocks radius, right? Yep. If things really start to turn around economically wise, I'm saying here in Canada, is that you don't want them to overbuild, because we just went on that brick and mortar rant, essentially, right? 100%. It's like you don't want to be stuck with this glut of inventory. But if you remain and you keep everything along those lines, you have the products that the individuals are looking for, like Five Below is, and targeting specific consumer groups, then you might be able to hold on to those margins and remain relatively
I agree
strong.
with you. And then they did expand their store footprint. 14 stores. They got almost
But that's not, but sorry to interrupt you, that's not overbuild, right?
No,
like when you see other
decent,
companies going like, they're looking at multiple 600 stores, or like 100 stores here, 100 stores there. I think 14 stores is reasonable. And I believe Dollarama was sitting around, I think it was like 67 or 80 new locations within a short period of time, right?
Yeah, and they have almost 2,000, so not a bad look. All right, Ciela, give us the news and give us the next story.
Absolutely. News here, just like a political reporter on X saying that U.S. and lawmakers are currently in talks about energy permitting reform. We're also going to skip to the next story. Now, RedCat Holdings, RCAT, the drone technology firm, currently down 15.94%, but we're going to talk about earnings. RedCat has reported a quarterly loss of 17 cents per share, missing the estimates of 15 cents and 15 cents of a loss. Now, this indicates profitability is still lagging despite, I would say, strong top-line momentum. And the stock initially dipped but has recovered in extended trading. And quarterly revenue has come in at $26.24 million versus the $23.92 million that was expected. Revenue has surged from $1.26 million year over year, which is showing massive growth acceleration. And full-year revenue has reached $40.7 million, which is up 161% year over year, highlighting rapid scaling. And the company is positioning itself as a key drone supplier for defense and government customers. CEO of the company, Jeff Thompson, has emphasized strengthening the role in advanced drone solutions, and it has also secured a major order for 100 Black Widow drones via the U.S. Army, signaling certain validation. And the company has launched new FANG FPV platform, expanding product lineup and continued expansion of Army relationship, which is a key long-term revenue driver for the company.
I completely agree with that. That's kind of where I want to go with this. This is going to be a military kind of push, at least for the moment, in the short term for these drone companies. So that's all I want to hear about. Which military are you doing business with, and how much are they buying? Now, I also want to see diversification in the drone types. We know drones are not all created equal. Some are attack drones, right? Some are reconnaissance drones. Other ones are anti-drone drones. If you know, you know. There's these ones that just basically take off, and they're supposed to bump the oncoming drone. So many different types of drone variants for these companies to explore, which has the effect, of course, of increasing the total addressable market. So that's really all I want to hear about. Which military are you signing up with? How much are they buying? And how many variations of your drones are you manufacturing? Are you selling them? How many variations do you have contracts for? But this company is unprofitable. So it's not a fundamental story for me. It's a momentum story, right? Until, you know, the fundamentals can kind of get under it and it can figure its balance sheet out. To me, it's a momentum, and you trade it, or you look at it as such, Joey.
And we had that IPO the other day, Swarm.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that this name should be performing. You would think so, considering what we got going on with oil. We have the Ukraine war. We have now what we have going on in the Middle East, the conflict there. I thought RCAT would have been performing a little bit better, in my opinion. So there's something behind the screen that maybe we're not seeing. Do they have what the governments are in demand for? I mean, this isn't horrible, right? 217% from November, from late last year to where we're currently trading at. We did just touch an all-time high, so maybe I'm eating my words relatively quick, but I thought we would see a little bit of a continuation and something in along the forward guide, some more government contracts or something along those lines in order to continue this name moving higher.
Okay, this is another company I want to bring your attention to. This is not a publicly traded company. But it's called Shield AI. It's one of the companies that's on, I think, the CNBC Disruptor 50 or whatever they call it there. Now, this is an autonomous drone, and it's an anti-drone drone. This uses AI to pick up drone swarms and then autonomously attacks them. So the good thing about this one is, number one, it's airborne, right? So it can be in multiple areas at one time. It's not a ground-based target like we typically have with anti-aircraft artillery or SAM, surface-to-air missiles. This can be in many different areas. Moreover, it uses AI to lock onto multiple targets all at the same time. So this is kind of the variance of the drones that I want to see, right? It's not just, you know, I was saying, you know, there's drones, single-off drones that just bump or crash into another drone incoming. Yeah, that's fine. That works. But then the drone that you just hit is done for. So it's not a reusable drone. This is obviously one that is reusable and acts more like a fighter aircraft than anything else. So you know, there's so many different variations of these. That's what I want to bring your attention to. You have any other comments, or should we go back to Sia? All right.
CSIQ, Canadian Solar, has issued Q1 revenue guidance of between 900 million to 1.1 billion. Below the expectations of 1.5 billion. And now this implies between 13 to 15% of quarter-over-quarter decline, and also possibly is a reflection of ongoing pressure from cost inflation and volatile macro conditions. Now, it has swung to a net loss of 86 million, which is $1.66 loss per share versus the profit of $33.9 million year over year. And it has missed expectations for a smaller loss, which highlights a margin compression. But profitability is expected to remain weak into 2026 due to the higher costs and transition investments. Now, net revenue has fallen to $1.22 billion versus $1.52 billion year over year, and it has missed estimates. Solar module shipments have dropped 47% year over year to 4.3 gigawatts, and the battery storage segment has also declined, indicating a broad-based demand softness.
Oh, this is a company I used to be involved in during the pandemic. It was trading like in the mid-40s at the time. It's fallen off substantially now into what are we at here? We're almost single digits, man, down into $12, $13. We did get a nice move up into 35, but that's where it ended. Now, I remember that the solar industry was getting a bit of a bump because we started talking about putting data centers in space, how those data centers are going to get powered by obviously solar, where we have an unlimited power source. That's not really, I think, why this company is selling off, because we're not looking at doing that anymore. They're trying to say 2026 is a transition year for them, where they're trying to move their production. Even though they're called Canadian Solar, they're moving production to the United States, as are many Canadian companies, sadly. And so they're trying to do that so they can take advantage of the manufacturing benefits that you get with under President Trump's administration for building in the U.S. So if the way you look at it is, yeah, near-term pain for longer-term gain, if you believe in the solar story. And that's what they're saying. Margins are going to get smacked in the short term, and the market's making them pay now.
Yeah, and exactly. And I mean, it's unfortunate, Sharif, because we just read through through some of the reports, and it's just like tougher regulatory climate and so on and so on. Tougher for them to do business in a country that's unfortunately plagued by bureaucracy and over-regulation. So that's where I stand on that, and you're going to see this continue. We talked about foreign investment within the country just absolutely falling off a cliff, considering you're going to charge them capital gains tax. If you make if it's harder for companies to advance and develop, then they're going to just go elsewhere, and that's what these guys are doing. They're just looking to produce more in the United States.
All right, LIDR, guys, into the high of the day now, almost up 30%. Big move up today for LIDAR, LIDR. What are we talking about next, Sia?
We're talking about SWMR. This is a very interesting chart on my screen here. SWMR has surged 1,000% in just 2 days. This marks one of the strongest U.S. stock debuts in nearly a year. Now, this rally has pushed the company close to a $680 million market cap. Now, the move is being fueled by AI, defense, and autonomous warfare themes, which is 3 of the market's hottest narratives here. Now, the magnitude of the move also suggests a retail momentum, and short-term traders are dominating the price action. Swarmer develops AI-powered autonomous drone systems which are capable of coordinating swarm behavior. The technology has already seen a real-world deployment in Ukraine with over 100,000 missions since April 2024 alone.
Exactly it. You hit the needle right on the head there. They've been in there since, I believe, 23, or it says here April 24. What I was able to pull up from their file is that sadly they had declining revenue. They made more money in 23 than they did in 24. I don't know quite what their revenue is for 25, but one must wonder why there's a declining revenue source here for them, especially with the war still raging in Europe. I think they're probably going to get a bit of a bump, maybe in some revenue now if they're going to do business with the U.S. government or any other Arab states, perhaps that wants to buy off them. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. I think they're hitting all the right buzzwords. They've got military involvement. They've got real world experience in a hot war, not just, in training. And that's kind of what I'd look for specifically. I think this is a good swing trade, but it has to be based on technicals because, the fundamentals still are lacking.
I mean, they're not even constructing drones, which could be good for margins as well, too. Just software updates. Right, which is really important. Over 100,000 missions apparently completed, Sharif, so I think that's pretty good. And, I mean, we've already seen this in some of the China drone shows and everything like that, just kind of how they can all move in tandem and in sync. So essentially what this is, but in more of a military base, in a military type action. So.
All right, let's take this super chat. Andrew, thank you very much, Andrew, for the $6.99 Canadian super chat. Man. Hey, quick question. Does Trader TV Academy cover futures trading, or is it only focused on stocks? Also, is it for beginners or more advanced traders? No. The answer is it's for everybody, beginners and advanced. It's a grade-aided system where you go through the units. We cover the most basic to more advanced things. And included in that, of course, not specifically the NQ and the ES, but we do cover, of course, futures markets. I don't remember specifically if we did a unit on that. I know it was Brendo and I, Sean and Neil that did record them. So maybe they covered certain areas that I wasn't involved in, but I know for a fact that we cover a broad base of equities, a broad base, I should say, of equities, as well as other areas as well. Commodities, we get into futures. We really do get into the gauntlet. Now, if you're looking for something specific to futures, like strategies that are isolated to futures, I'm going to go ahead and say no. I don't think that we cover future-specific strategies in the campus, but a lot of the stuff that we speak about the Qs and the SPY are directly, transferable to that. Thank you very much for the super chat. Do you have any comment about this before we go?
It's for everyone. There's so many different levels. Within the chat here as well too. It's just at what point do you classify yourself in one of these categories? We talk about options. We go over the leverage products as well too. So I think that it's a broad base, and we tackle all fronts of it for sure.
All right, Sia, what do we got next?
Yeah, we're talking about Nexstar, NXST, and so a coalition of 8 states, including California and New York, have filed an antitrust lawsuit to block Nexstar Media's $6.2 billion acquisition of Tegna. Now, regulators are arguing that the deal would lead to an excessive consolidation in local TV markets, reducing competition. So critics are also saying that the merger would concentrate on control of hundreds of local TV stations under just one operator. Nexstar already reaches 39% of U.S. households. And combining with Tegna could push that around 60%. Big number here. Now, antitrust officials are warning that this could lead to higher advertising prices and consumer costs via cable or satellite. Now, the Federal Communications Commission Chair, Brendan Carr, has also signaled support but may require certain rule changes. And U.S. President Donald Trump has publicly backed this merger, framing it as a counterbalance to major national frameworks and networks.
So this is, to me, less about a concentration of fewer independent voices. I seem to turn on a lot of news channels, and for the exception of one, I kind of get the same thing from most of them. So I don't really worry about that too much. What I do worry about, though, is obviously higher advertising prices. I think that that's a sound argument there, and consumer costs. Obviously, consolidating too much ownership into the hands of a few, you can kind of dictate the prices there. But quite frankly, when you look at where the advertisers' dollars are going, they're not going into linear television anymore, right? It's down into the right, lower highs and lower lows for the amount of money coming into linear television. So maybe this isn't really as big of a deal as we say. And quite frankly, let's look at who's bringing this. California and New York, both are very, very, very blue states opposing it. FCC commissioned Brendan Carr, and President Trump supporting it. So this does fall along political lines. Let's cut the crap. And I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, well, 8 states apparently do, Sharif. It's a pretty big deal. Other than that, like, I don't even know. Are people still, like, we're just swaying so far away from linear TV. I think it's something that's going to be put on the back burner eventually, to be honest with you. So just so much streaming going on. It's like, all right, let them acquire. I've never, what's on Tanga? What is on Tanga? I have no idea.
No, the company Tanga owns, I think, WB, or they own, like, a bunch of local channels. Okay, these are all local channels
it's
here.
All local stuff. So, yeah. I don't know what's going on with linear TV in the United States.
Yeah, well, I know you don't even watch linear TV, so I completely sympathize with that. Very few people do. Thank you very much, Immortal. Oh. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you guys for everything. I didn't think I was cut out for day trading. Changed my life. Gave me the confidence, skills, and information needed. We thank you so much, brother, for that. And hope you print up several storms on your side of the screen there. And stick with us, man, because we have so many different types of traders. You got the Katina man trading one way, Joseph trading another way, Neil trading one way, I trade a different way. Adara has her own style. So stick with us. You get the entire gauntlet here. And we've got 1 minute left, so I think we're gonna end the new segment here. I think we're good. See, yeah, the big boys, they want us to go on a little bit longer because they gave us 15 minutes extra yesterday.
I heard the other way. I heard they wanted to jump over there quick, like early, so they could show, so Katina man could show his USO trade.
Yeah,
there.
well.
I know he's antsy. He wants to get that one going up. Katina man,
what's going on over there, Katina man? Oh yeah, he gets the back massage.
Let's do it live. Bring the roll up the rim over here, brother. Let's do it live. Pardon?
It's full. Well, you got to wait a little bit.
You can still work on it.
Oh, you can get us in an hour, my guy.
Listen,
my goodness.
Hey, listen.
Oh, my days.
You know how
my mic is on, by the way.
You know, with Randy rolls it up, he typically wins. I'm going to give you that good juju, too.
I've noticed.
If you don't bring it here, then the chances of you losing on that roll up the rim is going to increase. All right?
I got you.
All right, my boy. Bring it. Let's see
how's that USO trade doing, Katina, man? You're printing up several storms.
It's good. I averaged in, so.
All right. Well, the Katina man is short USO. And it is now 2 o'clock. Joey, send him over, baby.
Yeah, over. Okay, we're not going to give him any extra time. We'll send him over there, man.
We did. Give him 20 seconds.
It's 50-50 on the roll up the rim between Katina Man and I. So if he wins, I get half of whatever it is. And that's how it's going. That's how we're going to rock and roll, man, because I would do the same thing for him.
Bang. Take care, guys.
We're gonna,
we're